classic comedy. Welcome to The Downside. My name is Gianmarco Soresi. Russell is out today. He was having some vocal issues. You know Russell, my friend. He's currently off Broadway in a show called Titanic. And Russell, like me and any former theater kids who do comedy, sometimes we rely on yelling in place of a punchline. So don't worry, I'm gonna be taking care of Russell. I'm gonna call him up. I'm gonna explain to him what a setup is, how to tighten it up. I've been there, God knows. Maddy knows from my roast battle days that there was a time I didn't know what a joke was. And Maddy famously said, what did you say, Maddy?
I said it to everyone, but you hold me to it first. I'm like, listen, just so you know, I told a lot of people that. A lot of people who are on TV now, you just own a TV, but people who are on TV.
Maddy said, quit comedy. And it haunted.
I totally forgot.
Oh, nice.
Totally forgot.
Wow.
That was at a roast battle many years ago. But I would like to let it be known that I don't have vocal issues, which is why I'm here.
And
you
you
know
can
what?
sing.
Yes, I can.
Oh,
what
shit.
the hell was that?
It's
I-
crazy.
That came out of nowhere.
Oh my God.
So just let you know, if the numbers are crazy today, Russell might be out of a gig. All it takes is one appearance.
I was shocked that you were available, if I'm being honest.
Me too, actually.
Yeah?
When I said yes, I said, God, what are you doing with your life? This year is off to a terrible start. No, I like this. I had a big day open, and I said, maybe someone will come in.
Maybe I'll get to sing in an apartment.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sure Debbie Downsiders. Let me real quick some business. The Patreon is growing. We're almost at 100. I'm going to lay out all the new things when you get 100, 150, 250. A lot of cool things are coming up. But if you join now, you get to hear the last episode we did with Dusty Ray Bottoms, a live episode about the downsides of RuPaul's Drag Race. Yeah. And then we just recorded one. This is coming out later. With Aaliyah Janine, we're doing a live episode where she talks about the downsides of being in the adult entertainment industry and leaving it. And
what would the downsides be to being in the adult entertainment
I haven't
industry?
experienced any downsides
Just
myself.
Orgasms and fun and cum, and it's a blast. So join patreon.com/downside. You don't even have to listen to the bonus stuff. You can just do it as like a tribute, as a thank you for all the free shit. Patreon.com/downside. Please check it out. And Maddy has been a guest before. Star of Wild and Out.
Yes, on MTV, VH1, and YouTube.
And fully turned towards me. These clips are going to be disastrous.
I know my profile is horrifying, but this couch is comfy if you sit this way, and my feet are cold.
I'm worried since Russell's not here, we can complain about it. I'm worried it's too comfy.
Are you worried about the view, though? Or were
Russell
you saying
sometimes, by the end of the episode, Russell's like this. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, and he's just, and I'm worried. You ever see the Seinfeld episode where they buy a chair for the security guard?
Yeah.
And he falls asleep.
Yeah.
Let me introduce my guest. Skyler Higley, stand-up comedian.
Oh,
Higley.
my
I'm
God.
sorry. God damn it.
I
knew
told
it.
you.
I knew it, and then I spelled it wrong here.
No, that's
I knew it was
embarrassing.
Higley. I knew it was Higley.
As someone with your
God
last
damn it,
name,
No,
motherfucker.
literally, it's embarrassing.
It's very
And we do this
embarrassing.
every week when on the podcast. You'll always mess up people's names, and also everyone knows it's Higley. So I think you need to.
I feel like
go
you
into
didn't
that
know until
room.
seconds
Wait,
ago.
No, I literally knew
swear
that.
to God,
I literally knew it.
And it corrected it on my phone. It corrected it on my phone. So when I looked at it, I was going here. Skyler, we were at JFL New Faces together.
Yeah, it was fun.
And look where it got you.
Yeah, and
It
now
got
I'm
you to be
here,
a
baby.
guest.
And now I'm here.
In an apartment next to a bridge.
My dream, my comedy dream. I want to be right next to the Williamsburg Bridge. I want to walk past the apartment a couple times. I didn't know where the door was.
Well, I'm glad now that everyone knows where I live. Skyler, can you say something? You're visiting New York. Say something shitty about New York so I can launch into our theme song.
Something shitty about New York.
Or
I mean,
Chicago.
what do I mean, I could start with New York. First of all, like this, how it smells. Like half of the place, it's gross. Also,
That's just
garbage
in here.
everywhere. Garbage everywhere.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is your? Why don't you have alleys? What the shit?
This
don't
is the
have
downside.
alleys.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.
And Maddy Smith.
That was really sexy.
And Maddy Smith.
Yes.
Well, we gotta update that song.
Yes.
Just call it Maddy
It's been
Smith.
forever.
Maddy Smith. Maybe you can sing it too. I mean, frankly.
Maddy Smith.
There you go.
Wow.
Before we talk about you, I got to complain about something. So,
Okay.
so where I live, this is actually the podcast studio. I live close by.
Yeah.
So I'm coming home one night. Tova, my girlfriend Tova, she says
Believe it or
there's a
not.
crime scene. There's a crime scene, and she sees there's blood. She heard someone got shot. And I go, and she had gone inside, and she was like, I was coming home, and she was like, could you see if you could find out what happened? And I get there, a lot of cops, a lot of NYPD. Hopefully they haven't listened to the
Pigs.
podcast because we've said a lot of things. We've
Oink,
said a lot of
I
things.
love them. I don't. What's wrong with the police? Do we
Oink,
want to?
oink, I'm an ally.
Listen, and so I asked the officer, I asked one of the police officers, and I say, and I see blood. I see cardboard. There's blood. Something bad has happened, and this is very close to where we live. Dare I say, underneath. And so I say, hello, officer. Good day, officer.
As you do when you
Right.
start off. Good sir. Good, respectable sir.
And I say, what happened? And he goes, you'll see it on the news.
As if we're watching the news.
We're all watching the same news
yeah,
all the
Channel
time.
3, pull it up.
And the reason I asked him, because I had to go under emergency tape to go into my building. So, and I've had this happen with the NYPD before, where there's clearly something wrong. Yeah. I'm concerned, and I turn to them for one moment to get my taxpayer due and say, can you tell me what happened here? And they give me some fucking answer
They're
like
rude
that.
motherfuckers. Now,
To be fair, I've literally yelled, fuck them.
Yeah. Oh, they remembered
Fuck.
your face from the protest.
No justice, no
remember-
peace.
yeah.
They remember
Fuck
you.
those racist
Yeah.
ass police.
Only white guy there. Remember.
Yeah, and the tallest
Tallest.
one.
Listen, I do everything I can to never have to ask the NYPD for anything, but simple
It's
information
basic info.
They could
about what
say.
happened. So I did look it up on the fucking news. What the fuck is he talking about? Like a local thing.
Exactly. Well, when were you supposed to look this up? Because you'll see it on the news. It's like, what if I want to know right now? How long
Right.
are you supposed to wait? I hope. I mean, I don't hope, but a lot of people must have died so that you could be like, oh, this will get on the news or something.
Sure, exactly. And so I say to him,
Especially in New York.
I say to him, is there anything we should be worried about? He was like, no. And I looked this up, and actually, I would say it is something to be worried about.
Okay.
So it's I'm trying to be vague because I don't want people to look up exactly where I live, but you could piece it together. I'm
Yeah,
posting
take one
online.
drive down the Williamsburg Bridge and they'll see your face.
They'll see my fucking face. And it's
Literally.
So there was a store, and it says this is the news being like they sell weed, THC laced oil, and marijuana edibles, though it lacks a license to do so, which apparently is a big thing right now.
Yep.
A lot of
I'll
these
tell
weed
you why
stores.
I'm nervous about this in 1 second, but keep going.
Sure. So once inside, the robbers tried to hold up the shop.
I've heard about this.
They
kind
demanded
of,
money
yeah.
from the register, which they stuffed in a red bag. He was behind the counter when these guys came in. The manager said to the worker, we have no idea who they are. The robbery went sideways, and one of the men shot the 34-year-old clerk in the torso. The victim sometimes works as a guard, too, according to the manager. So then they took off in a black car with tinted windows, bizarrely
Illegal.
leaving the money in the bag on the counter. The woman who witnessed the shooting from across the street said she heard a pop. That makes sense.
That checks out.
That
yeah.
checks out.
That's her first gunshot she ever heard.
Yeah, it sounded like a popping
Yeah.
sound.
Okay, lady. Go
It's
back
like because
inside.
whenever I have a joke, work or
home.
not work, I go like that joke really
Yeah.
popped.
Those
that's-
were gunshots. There's a somebody that got shot in the torso. That was one
yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
So this guy,
Welcome to a city.
the guy who was shot, he was on his side, scooting his way on the sidewalk. He was bleeding bad. His sweater was covering it. He was screaming, "Call the cops! Call an ambulance!" And he's expected to survive.
Good.
Yes, good. But what the fuck? Why couldn't the officer say anything?
No, I know. I hate that. They're being sassy lately.
They're being sassy.
Yeah.
They're really mad that we got mad at them.
They're mad.
and
yeah.
now
they're still mad.
they're still mad about it. And it's like, get over it. Nothing happened to
I
you.
thought them beating people with nightsticks at the protest was enough, and
Yeah,
now they're
you-
just being sassy. Now they're just being passive aggressive.
So I don't know. It's the second time when I was in Harlem. I remember once late at night there was drilling noises and some voices like outside late. It sounded not good. And I remember I was younger. This was before the cops were treating black people unfairly. So I
Right.
did call them.
Right. No, that's before. What,
That was
like,
recent. I mean, that was like a 2020
It only
thing.
happened in June 2020.
And
started and ended. We fixed it.
Yes, we did.
And I remember I called them. They said they'd look into it. I called back because I didn't hear anything. It's like 2 a.m. Drills, noises. I saw a ladder. And I called and they said, don't worry about it. Hung up the phone.
Ew, they're so annoying.
And I'm like, well, then what's the fucking point here, guys?
Right.
What's the fucking point? This is the one chance you can't fuck it up. Just tell me what happened outside my building.
I beg of you.
This is the one time where you're not going to pull a gun on me for no reason. Hopefully.
This is the whole, both of these stories. I can't believe how stereotypically New York it is, because you ask cops in both of these stories what's going on and they both said forget about it, and it's just
Literally.
like, how can you be more of a fucking stereotype of a person?
Yeah.
Maybe
Fuck.
if he was eating a donut. Hey.
And he's swinging around his nightstick and fucking
Yeah.
beating black people.
No, I'm
That's-
saying. You couldn't even finish it.
I know.
Yeah. You can finish with.
No, I know. I know. I
was saying
can.
he
I thought it'd be
couldn't,
funnier to not.
What is it for Chicago? Is it CPD?
Mm-hmm.
The CPD?
Yeah, Chicago Police Department. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the Chicago Pig Department. Okay, I have something to say about this story.
Please.
So
Yeah,
go ahead.
I started a series with Homeless Pimp. You know him.
Uh-huh.
He's like a big.
He was the guy who did this shooting.
Yeah. Homeless
in
Pimp.
yeah.
He is a homeless pimp. I started a series where we're reviewing weed stores. And I got really high at one of them. And at the end of the review, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not allowed. Maybe I shouldn't put this out because it's going to expose the weed store. Right.
Oh, because they're not licensed.
Well,
But
yeah.
the one I reviewed was like selling art and then giving weed.
Oh, right.
And they were all like for it. No one there was like, you can't do this. But I was like, fuck, what if we put this whole thing together? And they're like, you can't release that.
I don't think they're cracking down on it quite yet because they're popping up everywhere. There's one in the
They're
corner
everywhere,
here
yeah.
with glass windows where it's like it's in your face
Yeah,
weed.
yeah.
This is what I've noticed, though, in at
Might
least
have been, that would have been one I went to.
Really?
Granny Za.
when I've been here a month now, I see all these weird like looking weed stores everywhere. That's like, this is just, what is this, a pharmacy? But it's like green or whatever. But also, I've seen a bunch of those. I barely see anybody smoking weed on the street. Like, is it not street legal? Like, what is?
We don't really know what the vibe
Yeah, I
is.
know-
Nobody's
I think,
around,
you know,
like smoking a blunt and
so
like
focused-
is
But
weird.
that's the same in like Toronto. Like there's so many dispensaries, but there's no one on the street smoking weed.
I think it's
I
one
think
of
it's
those
like
gray
alcohol,
area
kind of.
things. Like I was in San Diego and I bought weed and they said you're allowed to buy weed, but you can't smoke it in public.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I felt it was just enough paranoia of getting in trouble. I'd probably be fine.
Yeah.
But it was enough paranoia to stop me from just like casually smoking it.
Right.
What was the name of well, we shouldn't
Granny
say,
Za's. We
but
can say
it's
it.
all these stores are opening up. It's been like crazy because you know
Crazy.
they're not gonna all last.
Yeah,
Once
it's
they
the
crack
big
down on this
boom.
license
Yeah.
thing.
And a lot of them won't have a lot of them have fake fucking weed.
Well, this
Two
place,
bodegas in my neighborhood closed, and the same owners just opened a weed store. That's not real.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
the
Delta
thing.
8 shit? Is that what it is?
Not even that says THC. You're just eating Sour Patch Kids. I literally ate like 20, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is not weed at all."
Well, that's the thing with legalizing it. You're going to get the bodega
Yeah.
quality weed.
Yeah.
I went to one place. They gave me a free joint, and I should have known because they just gave it because I browsed. And this
Right.
joint, I'm not like a joint. Oh, this joint is shit. This was the worst joint. This was like I lit it, and it all disappeared.
Yeah.
You just got a crumpled up paper
Yeah.
with like a couple sprinkles of flour in
Yeah.
it, and they were
Yeah.
like,
It was
here.
disgusting. So,
So that's where we are in legalization.
Interesting.
Remy Germanario, friend of the pod, she told me this story. She was like, she stays with her dad on the Upper East Side, like an expensive neighborhood. And she came out one day and she saw us it was like a neon marijuana leaf with glasses smoking a joint. And it was like, Mr. Weed. And she saw it and was like, no way. This is going to stay in this neighborhood.
Right.
And sure enough, she came back like a week later and it had changed to dispensary number 38.
Hilarious.
And I think it's so funny to see how weed culture will immediately transform as they try to appeal to different markets.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, it was just to appeal to people who would buy illegal stuff.
Yeah.
Or go to Spencer's Gifts, and now it's going to be like, how do you advertise it to old people?
Yeah, there's
And-
going to be some bougie weed shops
Yes.
popping up.
Rich people love what was it, like dispensary whatever. Rich people love numbers. They don't
Yeah.
like things being called things. There's like this and a number thing, as if that makes it like official.
Well, so like, well, thank
Yeah.
God we got not the first 37 versions of the shit. We got weed
Right.
dispensary number 38.
Right.
Yeah.
So Skyler,
Closes at 5 p.m.
is
you
weed
know.
legal in Chicago yet?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of dispensaries?
There are some. I think that it's like this really weird thing that Chicago has done with like the weed licensing, where it's very expensive, and then they like crack down on like the illegal weed, but there's only like there's north side dispensaries, but there aren't that many of them because it's not that accessible to get. So, and heavily taxed. I'm not an expert. It just seems like there should be a lot more weed than there is.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really into the mints right now. I'm getting into
I like those too.
2.5, 5 milligram mints.
Mm-hmm.
5, I get a little, if I'm doing stand up.
Take it easy.
Do you get high before?
No, not very often. I think
I will for a low stakes show.
Sure. If I like to write high for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
I have a
That's
problem. My
fun.
poor girlfriend, every time we get high and we're talking, there's a lot of like,
Me
oh,
too,
wait
me too,
one
me too,
second.
me too, me too, me too.
And she
And then
makes
my
a roll.
notes
She's
app
like,
is filled with chaos.
chaos.
My-
And most of it is,
I opened mine today. It was like
Yeah.
bit about guy who shadow boxes at a bar.
sure.
Sure.
I started
And
boxing
that-
recently.
Yeah.
You ever meet a guy who's just like, when you're out, he's just like,
just kind of doing this.
and you're like, you want a beer, dude? He's like, I'm sober.
Sometimes,
Well, it's got to be those sober people.
always, always, always.
if I'm alone in a green room before a big show,
Yeah.
if I'm alone,
Right.
there's a little bit.
Little
I thought, you
bit
were
of
gonna say,
boxing.
I
I
thought you were
feel-
going to say a 5 milligram.
Yeah, I thought
I said, take it easy, Gianmarco. Your career is going to slide.
that's your catchphrase for this podcast every
Take
time you
it
host.
easy.
Yeah.
That is like,
every time I host, every time Gianmarco and I are together, it's like crazy
Yeah.
chemistry, sparks flying.
that is my thought where anytime I'm like, your career's going to slide. Your career's going to slide.
I know.
You keep this up. If I get too high, the part where it goes sour is if I'm on stage and suddenly I go, wait a second, are they laughing at me because I'm
Yes.
being weird
Right.
or because of the joke? And once I enter that space, then it's like, then I don't feel happy with it on
Okay,
stage. I feel
okay.
paranoid.
I understand.
I've been like tripping on like psychedelics on stage before.
Take it easy.
And I should have. I do not recommend
done
it.
that.
Because in weed, sometimes you'll get high and like you'll be like, at worst, it'll say if you're bombing or even doing well, I'll say a joke just high on weed and I'll be like, why are they laughing even though I just said a joke like you said?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When I was tripping, it was even more complex in that like not only why are they laughing, but like why are they here? And why am I here?
Right.
Like every single joke. And I just started feeling like every laugh felt bad. And it was like this weird, like, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah. Or crowd work would be like, oh, so you're an oak tree?
yeah.
Oh, crowd
What do
work
you-
when I'm high. No, don't even.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Sometimes
so bad.
But sometimes I will push, like, because I think everything's funnier.
Yeah, true,
I
that
have
too.
less of a censor, so I
Yeah.
will like roll with it a lot.
That's why it's
more.
good for
Well,
like a
that's
low
two
stakes
drinks
show.
in. That's me, 2 drinks
You're
in.
you're
I'm-
an on-stage drinker.
Well, if I'm gonna try to do crowd work or get loose or whatever, then it's a couple drinks and I'm going crazy. I don't give
Okay,
a fuck what
interesting.
happens.
Your whole JFL New Faces set was all crowd work.
Yeah.
and it was a
And I-
strange.
And you were
strange-
tripping.
And I was
You
tripping
just
and I was
asked
drunk. and I
100
was
people
fucked
what
up.
they did for work.
And they
Didn't
were like,
even
I'm
have
an
a line.
agent. I'm an agent. I'm an agent.
Yeah, and I didn't have a lie. I was like, "What did you do for work, agent?"
Right.
And I was like, "Cool." And what do you
Right.
do? Oh, cool.
He's like, "I'm your
and-
manager."
And then I was like, "Gay, gay, gay." I was
Gay.
calling everybody
Yeah,
gay,
yeah.
and
Sure.
everybody
and you were
they
right
loved
half
it.
the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
The other half, they were just not out yet.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Every agent is gay. That is something we say. Just so people who are not in the industry.
Every agent's a little
is
bit
gay.
gay.
Did
Avenue
you
Q?
get high in Montreal?
No, I don't think so. It was very.
Oh, not during his shows. We had a lot of downtime.
He had a lot of meetings.
I
I wasn't there. Never
was
been.
it was just a degree of like I did not get to like enjoy much at JFL because it was like
Me neither.
you were
Me neither.
talking to so many people and everything. It felt like, oh my God, this is the moment. Everyone's here.
Yeah.
All the bookers are here. All the people are here.
That was an intense experience, and I will say it was either being at those shows, doing the fucking whatever meetings, or I was just like pretty much drunk or high the whole time, and I was feeling this existential, because it's always, you're meeting so many of these industry, hi, I'm whoever from wherever, and they're just like talking to you a bunch. And I got into a very weird, dark place where I'm like, the industry is slavery and this is the auction block. Like I was very like excited.
It's weird,
But
yeah.
then there's also a weird, that many of all of us in the same place at the same time. That's weird.
And the industry people, I've never been to JFL, so you guys are kind of make me feel left out. But I have been to like, it's like, okay, like agent, like I don't even know what that is. Like
You've never even heard of
I don't
agents.
even, like I don't know what Just for Laughs stands for. I just said Just for Laughs. That's hilarious. But I've been to Moon Tower and it's the same thing. You can tell who's an agent too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No,
Well,
I love
my
agents. I love
girlfriend's-
industry
Obsessed.
people.
Hello.
Well, my
think they're all
girlfriend is in the industry, so shut
It's
the
just
fuck
funny
up.
because you can tell because they got their lanyards on and they're like Skyler, right?
Yeah, the way they look at you.
Yeah.
They look at you up and down. They're like, how much money?
Yeah.
How much?
I do think it'd be funny
If you're a little taller.
if I came up to you, Skyler, during JFL, I was like, doesn't it feel like this is like the auction block, and we're like fucking you and me, we're just fucking.
And then we
slaves.
both start
This is the
singing, "Let my
metaphor
people
that
go."
Came to my mind, like first out the
Yeah.
gate, right out the gate.
Yeah.
Was that because you were stoned, or you? I feel like you're an existential. You can't be happy for too long in a place before you're saying, "Is this the fucking auction block right
yeah,
now?"
that's what I say
Right.
everywhere. I go to work every day and I
Give it
start.
10
This
minutes
is
on
the
this
auction
podcast.
This
block.
is the auction block.
Yeah. And also, welcome to this is the auction block with Gianmarco Soresi.
Yeah.
Hey, that could be the
Step
title,
right
the
up.
auction block.
Step right
We
up.
That's
got
what you
it.
should have. Yeah.
Once in a while, that title just emerges.
I'm on
the
Wild 'N
auction
Out.
block.
That's
What about Wild 'N Out?
I said I'm on Wild 'N Out.
yeah. So you get it.
Talk about an auction block. Okay.
Okay.
I was trying to make everyone
all
laugh.
right. Okay.
So,
Don't give me this side. Okay.
speaking,
A lot of black people there.
I know.
That's a weird
I
thing to
know.
say.
You know me. I've been clutching my purse since I've been on.
that'd
I'm
be a funny
joking.
bit.
I don't see color.
Oh yeah, so you don't even know Wild 'N Out.
Yeah.
Do you know
know.
this is quite a
It's a white
heavily-
show,
Yeah,
isn't
it's a
it?
white show.
I thought this was NPR.
Yeah, literally.
So, Skyler,
Yeah.
where were you born?
I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as if people didn't know where Philadelphia was.
There's a Philadelphia, New York, though.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. I was born in Philadelphia, and then, I was adopted by honkies, whites.
Yeah.
And
How old were you when you were adopted?
I was a couple months old. I was a baby, and then I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Do you know
I didn't know
why?
you grew up in Salt Lake. Weird place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Weird.
Oh,
place.
you-
we're
you
gonna
tell
get
me.
into it.
The lake is evaporating. It's going to be gone in
Yeah,
5 years.
it's fucked.
I think
Oh,
it's
they're
a
gonna-
good thing, though. That shit smells bad.
I mean, it's smelling worse and worse because it's evaporating.
Right, that's true.
But it does.
Is
yeah,
it one
does
big
smell great.
lake?
Not to be
Yeah,
a climate
the Great
change
Salt
defender,
Lake.
but
The,
yeah.
the greatest.
Can you go swimming in it?
No.
You can't really swim. You can float, and
You
you'll
can-
smell gross.
Yeah, you
and
can burn
shouldn't.
alive.
Are
Yeah.
you are there spots like the Dead Sea where you can do that, or is it like it's too cold?
No, you can't. Well, it'll get warm, but you just shouldn't.
Like,
Nobody likes it.
If you
There's-
go there, there's like dead birds in it.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Do people sail? Do they motorboat? What do they do with this lake?
People do.
You never been to Salt Lake?
No, I went to Salt Lake to do one Wise Guys, but it was not in the lake.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not in the lake. People do
one I
have
did was in the
sailboats
lake.
on it. I do remember that. I don't really remember people sailing like that much on it. Because it's
Is it pretty? Is it just shit?
it
It's
can be
nice to
pretty
look at, yeah.
at times.
Mountains
but
and
then
stuff.
other times it's like we're talking about the lake itself. Like the Salt Lake Valley can be very
Yes,
pretty at certain times of year.
totally.
The lake is fucking trash ass shit. It's like deserty, but then like a big lake basin, whatever. And it's also big enough that there's like different like sides to it. There's like a
Right.
better looking side, and then there's like the shitty deserty grossness.
So
Right.
your family, your parents, what did they plan to put you up for adoption the moment they had you? Do you know any of this?
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is somewhat convoluted, I guess, but it's not convoluted. My biological mother was pregnant, went to have a baby, did not tell my biological father. He never knew she was pregnant. He didn't know that I existed until I was 6 years old.
Were they dating and she was hiding it like
I think
just a lot of pillows in front of her all the time?
Yeah, like on a sitcom when an actor gets pregnant, she has to hide
Constantly,
behind the
every
couch.
day.
And they
Yeah.
have to fucking fuck with the angles
Yeah,
and stuff
she's
like
like
that.
lying on the couch, like
she's always like popping her head in
Yeah,
from behind the
yeah.
door. Hi, honey, what are you doing?
the producers are like, I told her to wait.
She's gonna be out for a couple episodes. We gotta come up with some bullshit arc.
Literally.
I don't think that they might have been. I actually don't know. They might have been dating for a little bit. It might have been like a couple of hookups or something like that. I don't quite know the nature of the relationship. I should ask.
Sounds like a
now.
situationship.
Seems like it might have been.
Red flags.
Yeah.
No message is a message.
Right.
Yeah. Have you connected with either of your parents?
Yes, I know my biological father. I need to call him for New Year's. I still haven't. And we're
you gotta
pretty-
hurry.
Yeah.
We're I still have 2 like New Year's gifts, and I'm like, it's about to become
It's the ninth.
a
It's about to-
birthday
yeah.
gift or a next year Christmas gift.
It's the ninth.
Yeah, it's got me fucked up. So I gotta do that. But I'm saying that in the sense that like, yeah, we're close. I need to be a better son. I gotta be like hitting him up.
I don't
and
know.
stuff
They-
more.
they- I feel like you got a little bit of credit here.
I
Yeah.
get that.
He didn't
I'll
even
take
know
I don't know
that.
if you need to
existed
do
for a little
anything
bit.
ever again.
Yeah, that's fair. That wasn't on him though. That's what I'm saying. Because he didn't know.
Sure,
He didn't know.
sure.
He contacted me when I was 6 years old. So he reached out to my
What,
family.
on your cell? Oh,
Yeah, on my cell. Yeah, he showed up. No, he contacted my adopted family because he didn't know I existed, and then he had to make the choice because he was allowed at that point to be like, I'm taking him and he's coming with me, or
Wow.
he can stay.
And then
Wait,
so
hold on.
crazy.
Okay, so your mom put you up for adoption. Your dad didn't know that you existed. Your dad finds out 6 years later.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
then
he's catching up, and she's like, I wonder what happened to our son, and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what son? Yeah, I don't know how he found. I gotta ask so many questions.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, let's
it's-
get him in here.
When you
A lot of
when you
unknowns.
grow up with this stuff, you're just like, oh yeah, whatever. But like, I don't know how he found. I think you know what it was. I believe, and I maybe bullshitting right now, but I think it was my biological mother's sister told him. Is what I think happened.
I wonder if it was told like out of love or just to like fuck up his day.
And you have a son, and he's in Utah now, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
by the way,
And his
Yeah.
parents are both white
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no.
in a Mormon community.
I gotta
Yeah.
fix that. That's not gonna be a regular boy.
So he reaches out to your family when you're 6, and he wants you.
Well, I think he had to choose. I think that we've talked about this in retrospect. He's like, I wasn't in the right place to have a kid. I was just a single dude and being a fuck up in that time. So he knows that it wasn't right for him to like take me back. He knew that at the time. So he just wanted to get in contact to be like, I had no idea. And then I think there was a time where he wanted to make that choice, but then saw what my life was and where he was at financially and what he was doing.
Do you remember when you were 6? Like, did your parents come to you and say, "Hey, so your dad's on the phone"? Did you know you were adopted at 6?
Yeah, I think so.
But like, they never said like it was never spoken, or was it spoken?
I don't.
and did you have siblings in the adopted family?
I never had siblings before. I was the first
Okay.
kid of their kids. But I never have a moment of learning that I was adopted. I've just, in my memory, always known that. So they must have been telling me since I was like very, very young.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember learning.
I don't know what the common thinking of that is these days in terms of when do you tell your kid?
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like you just kind of have to.
When do you tell
I
your
think-
kid?
Probably have to raise. You probably have to raise them
When
like
do you tell
kid.
your kid
Yeah.
that he's black?
Right.
That's the question.
I did have to be informed of that. That is something I did have to learn.
It was like a reverse Steve Martin
There had to
in
be
the
a
jerk
thing.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So your dad calls. Do you remember talking to your dad? Was this a moment where they said, "This is your dad"?
Yeah, but you know what? In my memory, like, I think that I have had moments in the past of like knowing that before, but I guess I have a memory of like talking to him for the first time, but in my memory I don't remember it like it was the first time.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
So I get, again, 6 is very young.
Yeah, it's so young.
So I think that like in my mind I remember what a specific phone call from the past was, and I guess that was the first time. But
right.
it was much more of a moment for him because he brought it up to me recently because he was like, I'm my son, and you're say whatever 20 or whatever, and then you 6 years later find out some shit, and then you're like, fuck.
All right. If you find out from one of your exes you have a 6-year-old son.
Yeah, like
6
your
years old.
ex. Yeah,
Your
that
ex.
makes sense.
Right.
A guy shits out a baby.
Okay, totally reasonable.
Okay.
Yes.
You
Talk about the
you
downside.
You went through a blackout phase. You never
Absolutely.
know. You could have
Still
blacked out for
going
9
through it.
months.
I'm blackout right now. Okay, so let me put myself in this. And I found out someone else had a kid.
I'm the kid. I'm the kid.
Respectfully, no interest.
No thanks.
Sure. I think
I would say out of sight, out of mind. He's in a different time zone. I am good.
Mormons seem like good people.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
exactly. They
I'm
seem
gonna
safe.
stay out of a 6 years. I'll be like maybe when they're a teenager, let them know I'm there.
Yeah.
But at 6, if
I
I
don't know
talk
which
to the
is
kid,
better.
I feel like it's gonna fuck them up. It's gonna turn them into a stand-up comedian, and that's the last
And that's
thing
what
any of
happened.
us want.
That's what
Right, I
happened.
know.
That's what happened.
So there you go.
Exactly. At 6, you're like, oh, I got a funny
Yeah,
joke
I
about
gotta-
this. I can't. I
gotta
can't
write
possibly
this.
emotionally understand how crazy this is. So I'm just gonna make jokes for the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, my entire engine.
Was
That
it
plus-
traumatizing, or it sounds like your
That
adopted
part?
parents were pretty good at like,
Or it's happened
No,
so
okay,
early
okay,
that you
okay.
don't remember the trauma.
Well,
Right.
well, if we want to talk about the general trauma of all of that, that was not specifically the traumatizing part of like adoption type shit or
Yeah.
like being raised Mormon, for example. There was like layers and layers to which the way my childhood would have just been traumatizing by default. But that moment of finding out, or connecting with my
Yeah.
biological father, that I wouldn't say is traumatizing.
Now, Mom, have you ever talked to Mom?
No, I never have.
Really?
No.
And you have? Do you know her name?
Yes, I do.
What if she was behind that door?
And
Wouldn't that be a
she's
great
here
fucking
right
episode?
now.
crazy.
Oh,
I want to do more.
shit!
I have a
That
little
would
bit
be
of
great.
I have a little bit of the prank in me, the prankster. I would love to.
Patreon only.
Patreon only. See,
We reveal
Skyler.
it for the regular, but her face is pixelated
Yeah.
out, and then you have to download the Patreon and subscribe
Yeah.
to see what she
and when you
looks
start
like.
crying, we pixelate your eyes.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If you want this emotional
Yes.
juice, you got to pay $5 a month.
Yes.
You
And
get,
Maury
like-
Povich is there, and
Yeah.
he brought her.
You have no interest.
Right.
I wouldn't say that. I would say I'm a procrastinator.
Right.
And so it comes up as if the same way you're like, I got to do the dishes. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I should like meet my biological mother.
That's how I am, but finding out if I'm gay.
Yeah,
It's
like,
on your list.
It's on the back
For
burner.
me,
of
it's
things,
probably
yeah.
it's like trying pegging, trying to get pegged.
Yeah,
right.
trying
It's
to get
like,
pegged.
oh, it floats in, and then you're like, oh, I
It's
gotta
always
post this
in my
clip.
head. I'm like, before I die. Before I die.
I'll get to it eventually. I'll get to it
That's how
Wait,
you
eventually.
feel
pegging or
about
the
your
mom?
mom. About the mom.
Both.
Both.
Both of them.
And being gay.
Sure.
And being
All
gay.
of them.
I would say I'll put mom before pegging probably. And so like I'll give pegging to myself as a reward for like finding
Okay,
my
yeah.
mother.
A little twofer.
Yeah. If I find my biological mom, then I'll let myself get pegged.
And it's one of those things where where you set up like something during a date in case you need to leave. You set up to your mom. You're like, hey, I'd love to meet in 30 minutes. I do need to go get pegged.
Right.
So
Yes.
that's an out.
Always have an out.
Always have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
I would simply do it as a stand-up comedian just because. There's got to be a new 5 in there.
Oh, I
meeting
think
your
so.
biological mom. There's no way you're walking away without something.
That's exactly why you should make any sort of emotional connection ever. Is the minutes,
This fucking
is the time.
guy is obsessed
It's a
with
machine.
bits.
Whenever
He's
you're in
the machine. Gianmarco Kreischer over here.
Okay, so then let's talk about this family. Can you just real quick tell me the exact timeline in terms of the Mormon Church in regards to letting black people be a member of the church?
Well, I can't tell you the exact timeline,
You were
but
raised Mormon.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
and I still am, baby. No.
It's one of the
Yeah, bitch.
craziest. The Mormon Church and this rules. It's one of the most. It's hard to believe that anyone's still part of the Mormon Church.
Well, so the timeline is essentially 1880s. Mormon Church is formed. They are messing around in Missouri and Illinois and whatever. Get kicked out. Have to go to Utah. Basically colonize
Joseph Smith.
Joseph
Joseph
Smith.
Smith.
That's
That's my
right.
dad.
We've all seen Book of Mormon.
We all saw both
That's
of
your
Mormon.
dad?
Everybody knows.
Yeah, Joseph Smith.
Oh yeah.
That's him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He's
exciting.
carrying around the golden plates.
Nepo
all the time.
baby.
Yeah.
Nepo
I know
baby.
I'm a Nepo baby.
Ooh,
I'm a
that's-
sister wife.
Wild and Out's Maddy Smith's
Yeah.
father started
Joseph
the Mormon.
Smith.
When they
Oh,
put me in
shit.
that article, I was like, come on.
It's you and the oldest white man.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man. So basically, they were in Utah. They whatever. The thing is, they let black people in 1978.
Late.
That's my
Yeah.
joke. That's my bit. It's very late.
Wow.
It's
And
very
it's
very late.
because the government said you can no longer be non-taxed. I thought that's why they did it.
Oh well.
My understanding was
Non-taxed?
that these churches aren't taxed,
if
right?
you're going to discriminate or something?
No,
What
what?
do you mean?
The churches are not taxed.
Right.
Religious institutions are not
Right.
taxed. And there was a thing. Well,
I know
if
my
you are going
touring
to
company is a church.
yes, exactly. And if you are, I thought it was the government said if you don't if you are not letting people in based on their race, you lose your tax exempt status. And then the person said, I had a revelation from God, and he said, it's cool now.
I
I'm
didn't
a fan
hear
of
that.
Wilder
Here's
now.
what I'll say. I haven't heard that. I need to go back and look up a lot of this stuff because as I get older and older, I learn more and more things that
Right.
were
Are you
like
going to get to
messed
that
up.
before or after you meet your biological mother?
That one's before, because that one's just reading.
That's
that
just
one's
reading.
easy. That one's I can
Reading
do.
is
I can just
easy.
Google. I can't just type in biological mom into Google. I'm feeling lucky. Hit me. You
Yeah.
know. I think that being raised in the church in Utah, there's so much of a narrative that they push on you, and stuff that they don't tell you about.
Yeah.
So, like, there are a lot of, I would say, active Mormons who don't know about, like, a lot of the Native American massacres that happened in Utah when they got there, or just a lot of the ways that they've manipulated and stuff that, because you just aren't told that stuff. So something like that, you're always just told, oh, it was a revelation. And, you know, even that on that level is like insane, you know, that it's just like, oh, I have a revelation now. But it's like, you just aren't told. It's so late.
That's
that-
church in general.
Yeah.
Is it surprising, though, that your parents, who are already Mormon, would adopt a black child given the history of the Mormon? Because when I did Wise Guys Comedy Club, I remember a black audience member, because I was joking about Mormon stuff as you do when you're at Wise Guys.
Yeah, of course you do.
And they said basically, they're like, it's so fucking racist here.
Yeah.
It's so fucking racist.
Yeah.
So is it surprising that your parents would like adopt a black child in this wildly racist community?
No, here's what I'll say. I've thought about this a lot because it is that Sandra Bullock-esque
Yes.
version of yes.
I was thinking there's like an altruism of their
The
Yeah,
blind,
well-
blind side, but with stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's
Oh,
so
it's
funny,
crap.
though.
I was thinking
That's my
miscongeniality.
pitch. That's my new pitch. Write that down. Write down that log line. The blind,
The blind
side of
side
stand-up.
for stand-up comedy.
Yes.
There's a thing of like this like white savior complex that is in like part of the Mormon ethos because they are trying to bring the church to the entire world. That's why all these missionaries are going around. That's why they go to these places that are like impoverished, where a lot of people of color, Latin America, Africa, and the shit like that.
And they do
because-
so much good work.
and they're
Do they do
killing
some
it.
good work, though?
They do.
To be fair.
they do some good work, but it's
They
like
needed a library.
it's
That's
stuff
filled
like that.
with just the
The
Book of Mormon.
Literally.
The A
Stacks.
through Z. It's all Book of
Yeah.
Mormon. We don't need the Dewey Decimals.
But ultimately, are they doing it because when they convert people to Mormonism, they're going to get a kickback? There's going to be money? Like, how much of Mormonism is like Scientology, where it's like, we're trying to raise...
Here's the thing. You are not getting any financial kickbacks for getting anybody into it. It's just spiritual. And it's like also like, how do I indoctrinate somebody further into an ideology? You make them put it onto another person. It's like it's a community effort. Community thought is stronger than a priest says this and everybody's like listening to this one guy, because then there can be dissent or whatever. But if everybody is in charge of like teaching and like pushing the message to each other and like fucking
Commoditizing?
not commoditizing, cooperating it.
Oh, yeah.
Then everybody feels like together in this thing. So that was, I think, more that. It's not like financially, of course, it's financially motivated for the church itself. And, there was that one report that came out that they have like something like a couple $1 billion in holdings that they weren't doing anything
Right.
with. And it was like a big expose.
We all have savings.
Yeah, of course.
I just always think it's interesting when I think about the Jews, that like the Jews are not interested.
All right. Here we
The
go.
Jews-
You're always on this.
Listen, I know.
little
Listen,
rant.
let's get Nick Cannon
Put
on
your
here.
ski mask on.
The Jews, like that desire to proselytize,
Yeah.
and to like expand, doesn't seem to be within the core DNA of the religion. And this is why we can't get strong enough to actually run the world.
Right.
Where there's just a degree of like, it's interesting.
Only
how
the weather. Only the weather.
Only the weather.
On the bank.
Some religions are like, it's just very interesting to me. And it's like, to my mind, it's what's the end game? Like, I feel like there was a time where the Catholic Church truly wanted to take over the world. They wanted to be the leading political, spiritual, everything. And Mormonism is never going to be that.
No, I think that it's the same as like Manifest Destiny, where laid into the idea of it because of the way it was developed. Joseph Smith, originally, you think about Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, they needed to expand and tried to get as much power as they could so they could have sex with teenagers and own slaves. So part of their thing was like, well, we need to expand to get more people into this so that we can get more people to pay more money so that we can have more power. And that just built and built and built. And then it got like the same sort of like corporate capitalistic mindset that America has, because it's all like centered around this like white male patriarchal like power system thing. That's what the religion is when you get out of it.
Yeah, but it's that mix. I always remember there was a clip of Mitt Romney, who's Mormon,
My king.
where there's a degree with a lot of religious people where I think a cynical side of me, I'm just like, well, they don't actually believe in it, and a lot of them
Mormons do, man.
Well,
That's what I'm thinking. I think they
Mormons
feel it
do.
in their core.
so there's this clip of
It's
Mitt
the
Romney
air in
that came
Salt
out.
Lake.
Because he's not talking about this on the campaign trail, but it was him on a radio show, and it was him like talking about what will happen, like beat for beat, when Jesus comes back.
Oh my
And
God,
as he's
it's
when you
crazy.
hear an adult,
It's a lot.
when you hear an adult like really like laying out the details of like what's going to happen, you're like, the part of something in me goes, oh, you are crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you get into the oh god, it goes very deep. If you get into, I also know everybody who I know who is Mormon is gonna be like, what the fuck? Don't let grandma don't
They can't
listen.
say that.
I know they can't. But yeah, when you go through because there's like 1,000 years of darkness, and there's like the devil is unchained, and then or God comes down and chains the devil, and then a bunch of people get burned, and there's like 1,000 years of whatever, and then there's like so many different things that are supposed to happen, and then we all get separated into these three heavens and all this kind of stuff.
Wait, what are the three heavens we're getting separated in?
There's so Mormons don't believe in traditional binary heaven and hell. It's
Stand up,
it's-
improv, and sketch.
We got a heaven fluid religion.
Yeah,
that's
it's-
nice.
It
Yeah, I
says
like
they
it
them.
too.
It's what's really funny is they don't go binary heaven and hell, and then my grandma still doesn't want to like accept that my non-binary uncle uses they them pronouns. It's like your whole
Right.
ideology is based on like abstracting this like idea of a binary.
Yeah,
and it's like
you can't
but
have a
why?
fluid afterlife and a binary
And a
gender
binary
system.
guy? It
That's
doesn't make- yeah.
insane.
You have a non-binary uncle?
Yeah, I don't know
Wow.
if I would even say uncle. They
Right.
is like, but that's
What is the term? Because I feel
Uncle?
like
relative, I guess. Like,
Uncle?
yeah, I have no idea. Like,
let me see. Let me look that up.
I think you just say like relative or just
Someone
say
told
whatever.
me recently.
Guy. Or no, crap.
Her,
what-
them, you know.
what, these are terrible guesses. You're just
Yeah,
guessing
you're not-
gender.
you're not
Sorry,
helping.
sorry.
So they're a woman.
No, but like
Listen,
with
I don't know what the kids are doing.
like with whatever, if brother sister, you can just like hit sibling, right?
Yeah.
Like that makes sense.
Someone
Parent.
told me nibbling reason or
What?
or nib-
I'm not.
I listen. I don't want to be guessed. Let me look this up. Let's get the fact check.
Okay.
This is not Joe Rogan, okay?
yeah.
Far from it.
It's a
Numbers
full
wise.
tangent, but like
You'll be on Joe Rogan this year. I feel.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
Do you feel like that?
No, I don't feel like that. 2025 is my year.
2025.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the next 2 years you're sitting out,
We're doing prep work.
Okay.
We're laying the foundation.
laying the foundation, saying a lot of
All
stuff
right,
about
now I'm
gender.
Yeah, exactly. Gianmarco, let's have a race to see who gets on Rogan first.
Listen, if I get a Rogan, I'm gonna have to go on there. If I'm gonna stay true to my tweets, I'm gonna have to go in there and be like, "All right, Joe, I got some problems. I can't." Listen, can I just say something really
We're
quick?
all
This
trying
is
to stay
ahead,
true
go
to our
ahead.
tweets, by the
this
way.
is
Yes.
this is a really side thing. There is a comedian. We can't. Please let's not say it. I have a real problem with.
You're gonna tell me after though, right?
Yeah. Of
Okay,
course.
good.
I have a real
Duh.
problem with what
And the
they.
Patreon.
Yes.
I have a real problem with the way they've conducted themselves and the things that they have allied themselves with to a degree beyond. It's not like, oh, that joke was offensive. Like, I think the
I know
things
who you're
that they
talking about.
support, and in my mind I was like, I don't want to be, hi, how are you? I don't want to. I'm not
know
gonna.
what
I'm
you
not gonna
mean.
go fuck you.
It's hard.
But I'm like, stop.
I know what
and
you
then,
mean.
And then, dude, I fucking came out of a spot and I saw them and they said hi and I went, hi, how are you? And I walked away and I was like, God damn it, Gianmarco, you suck.
But you changed your tone.
Suck.
Yeah, you
I
did it-
definitely.
you did
If you said that to me, I would say, oh, he's mad at me.
Oh yeah, I definitely was not friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
But I could not believe, as the words came out of my mouth, I said, you. And I did, it was my therapist, and I said, like, prepare for the thing you know that you like revert to your old habits too.
Right.
So, and it didn't matter.
It's okay though.
But
How are
it's
you?
real.
Working
Well,
on it.
especially now we're 2 tangents deep. But it's especially really hard in comedy where it's like, well, we get so close to these like evil people sometimes,
Oh.
and you gotta be like, you're also like, oh yeah, you know Nick Cannon. I'm just kidding.
Listen,
Look,
listen.
he's
I
not-
don't want to say.
I'm an ally to the Jewish people.
I'm an
So-
ally to the birthing,
Yeah.
breeding community.
That's true. He's a breeder.
We
but,
need more of those.
it's hard to be like, because you can't fully all the time just be like, fuck you, you'd fucking because you're just gonna cause problems and get in beef that you might not even be involved in. You just like know that this person's bad.
But maybe you should be doing
But
that.
maybe you should. I
be
agree.
doing that.
I agree.
I know,
but
but-
if you did it every single time on every single
You
level,
wouldn't get a lot of spots,
you
I'll
would
tell you
have
that.
no
You
career.
still get spots, but it's just energy.
Sure.
But it's
to
messed
a
up.
colleague, a colleague.
And that's why you just have to conduct yourself in a way that like you avoid those people. And then when you're like calling out these things, like call out what needs to be called out, avoid and not get involved unless you're really going to functionally. Maybe we should all be calling out all the fucking fucked up shit all the time. And I think that's
Well, when
probably
do you
true.
call it out? When do you call it out?
I
Like,
don't
oh,
know. I don't know. I'm a woman and I see a lot of stuff. You guys are
Sure.
overwhelming me
That's
and I'm
true.
freaking
So-
out
yep,
right now. No,
that's
I'm
true.
kidding.
That's
But
true.
I'll tell you
there's
what
a
I'm
lot.
being loud.
There's a lot to
it
call
was
out.
it was for me particularly. My turning point was it was after the shooting at that gay bar like a month ago. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
And like this person
Colorado,
just, like,
right?
Yeah, this person just put out something that was like the day of.
Oh, I
and
hate
it was
that.
about, and it was like, it was a joke at the expense of trans people in a way where I was like, what the? And for me, it's like, okay, well, how close do these two events have to come
Yeah.
before you go like, fuck this? This
Yeah.
is fucking. This
I hate
is,
that.
Well, you call it
Oh.
out then. You call it out in the moment. And then
Yeah.
you also are just like, I mean, I don't know. It's just like when those people want to have a problem, because if you want to have a problem, we can have a problem. But it's like, then you're just going to have beef. And it might be for a good reason.
Right.
You might be righteous in it, but it's fucking hard because then if it's not them, it's somebody else. And there's like I don't know.
And to me, they've already proven that they're not worth arguing with.
Yeah.
With the
Sure.
information that they've displayed that they believe in. So why even have a discussion?
Yeah.
If that's the brand they want to represent.
Has the Mormon very progressive on trans issues?
Yeah, very. No. You know, what
I
was
could
the whole
not find
thing?
a term for your non-binary.
I have no idea.
Relative.
No, they're not. They were very anti-gay for a long
this says
time.
ZZ.
And they're the Zer, the
Really?
meta
no, this
pronoun,
says
neo-
ZZ, not even like Zer,
Oh,
like
okay.
ZZ.
I like ZZ. That's sick.
I have no idea.
Y'all
I think
puffing on that ZZ?
whatever they want to be identified as is
Yes.
what it is.
Yeah.
There's no word to revert to, but that's what
Are
this
they
gender stuff is about.
in the Mormon community?
No, they actually. It's my relationship with them is actually very great and interesting because they were always the weird uncle because they were weird because they're gay and had tattoos and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, exactly. Oh my God, your body's a temple. You should never. And now as an adult, the way we talk, I'm like, oh, you're like the best person for me to talk to in my family. Like you have the most to say about things. You have the most like intellect about the world and the most realistic view of the world, and has like been through a lot of stuff. So they have a lot of compassion, like more than what like the religious version of compassion might be. And it's like, it's interesting to have a certain view of somebody as a child because they're just castigated in this way. And then you get older and you're just like, this is the most normal of these people.
Yeah,
It's weird.
yeah.
It's very weird.
Really weird.
So you grew up in Utah. Did your parents, did their faith, did being Mormon like extend to their parents and beyond? Have they been a
Yeah.
part of this? So this was their world. This was
That's-
truly their world.
It was completely their world. The house that I grew up in before my parents got divorced, we lived
Oh, your parents are divorced.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, how is that seen in the Mormon community?
They should have gotten divorced a lot earlier.
Yeah.
They
Is
should have
it
gotten
like
divorced a lot
Even the head
earlier.
of the church was like, you should have.
Yeah, at a
Is the
certain
church
point,
big on
yeah.
divorce? Like Catholics are cuckoo about it.
They are not. I'm sure it's different now.
Yeah.
I can only speak for when I was growing up, early 2000s, late 90s, of like what was going on in the time. But I will say it's discouraged generally, or was at the time, and was discouraged. Like I know they should have gotten divorced way earlier, but they tried to work on it because they had the religious
They tried to work on it by adopting you.
No, well, they should have never probably been together. So yeah, there's that. But but we lived across the street from our church in that house when I was growing up.
Okay.
So
And were they not able to have a child? Because in the Mormon, having a lot of kids.
It's like a thing. You're supposed to, what do they say? Multiply and replenish the earth or something.
But this is not a community with, what is it called where you have multiple wives? What is it?
Polygamy.
Polygamy.
Which
This is not a...
It's not, and they fight the polygamy accusations all the time. And
How
then
did that happen?
Well, there
How did
was
the
a
polygamy-
time.
yeah.
Like Joseph Smith time, like Brigham Young type shit,
Yeah.
like sister
well,
wives stuff.
Brigham Young, like famously, it's so weird. Salt Lake City, they have the Brigham Young house where it's
Right.
like, this is where Brigham Young lived, and it's so big, and it's got all these rooms, like where all these wives lived, and it's like, yeah, all these wives that were like 14, like,
Yeah.
why do we still have? Let's tear this down. Tear that down. Let's not put that in the center of the city. That's weird.
That's like if you could take tours of like Epstein's Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And they're like, look at
Look
we
at all
live
these
in
rooms.
we live in
It's actually not that
Epstein
much.
Town.
Gave some of them windows.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It's awful. And so, polygamy was a big thing. Their justification of it was that God told them that they needed to have a lot of kids, and it was in a certain way about like labor, right? Like labor
Right.
distribution. You're creating these little empires of people where you can have these all these people and together to create this state basically and to colonize this place. So
But it was in America, so it wasn't
but it
legal.
wasn't in America. That's why they
'Cause it
left.
was like-
They left to Mexico at the time, and Native Americans and Mexicans were living there. Colonized it, killed a bunch of people, and then that's when they started doing like polygamy like a lot, and also like on the plains.
And was it legal in Mexico, or did they just have their own country?
Yeah, it was like they basically said it was called the state of Deseret, what they called it, or the territory of Deseret, where they basically like made their own country. Like they left America, they got kicked out of America essentially, and then made their own country. And then when because of like what they were able to do economically, America started expanding. Louisiana Purchase happened, and they almost went to war with America a couple times.
Right.
And then America's like, we will admit Utah to the Union if you guys stop doing polygamy. That's got to be outlawed because that's weird.
That's the one clause that Americans cared about?
I think that was the thing that they were like. There's like some interesting books about how they like persecuted Mormons by like making them not white and stuff. Like in their mind, there's like there's white people, then there's Mormons, and white people drive like
Wait,
this, and Mormons drive like this.
Oh my God. I would love a Chris Rock bit of like, there's white people and there's Mormons.
Hilarious.
And you know how
And
these
Mormons have got to stop polygamy.
Yeah, so they just like thought of Mormons as like so separate, and one of the things that they would demonize them for is just like that polygamy and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So they told them stop that, and you can be involved. And I'm sure there's like a lot more details of that
Right.
shit. I'm not like a complete expert on our history, but
Yeah.
Better, we know more than us.
That's
Two co-hosts who are
Yeah.
in the dark.
yeah,
it's wild.
it's a wild place. It's a wild state.
Why
that-
Utah though? Do you know why it was? Because Utah's not close to.
You know,
Utah's up here, right?
in the story,
It's
because back in the
like
day,
here.
so America was like, I'm gonna do a thing. So America was
Duh.
like, this little part, and then there was like this much of the rest of the continental US.
Yeah.
And Mexico went from there all the way up to like,
I see. I
like
see.
Washington and fucking like all the way up where California is and all that shit
Do
was all
Mormons
Mexico.
lean on this shit though to like consider themselves
Yes.
like a
the fact that
minority.
they were persecuted,
Yeah.
they're like we were like maybe we're the real Jews actually.
like-
like it's like on that kind of shit for real.
Kind of everyone does that.
Yeah.
You know, Irish people were slaves once.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Mormons? This feels like the answer is yes. Did Mormons have slaves, or was this after Mormonism started after slavery?
No, here's the thing. They acted like they didn't, but they don't tell you.
They had different
They-
terms.
no. Well, kind
This
of.
is an indentured servant.
Uh-huh.
Friend.
They don't tell you that there were slave owners that went across the plains and then settled in Utah and or not Utah yet, but that area was an area where they would have slaves, and they act like they do a lot of historical erasure and act like they didn't have slaves around, but a couple people did. They weren't like, it wasn't like plantations. They didn't really have fields like that because you can't really plant like that out there the same way you can in the South. But yeah, there were some slaves around.
So this is a wild history. It really is interesting.
This is awesome. I feel like I'm on NPR.
I know, it feels like that.
Yeah.
I do. There is something interesting just to me about white people going to these other white people, be like, you have too many wives.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
This is weird. It's very funny for back then with all the weird shit they were doing. They're like, this is weird.
Well, here's what I'll say.
It's cool that they're 14, but the fact that there's 3 of them,
right,
that's weird.
And then there was also, I had a bit about how Mormons were very anti-interracial marriage. And so, but they were like okay with like polygamy and like marrying underage women. So it's like, oh
Sure.
yeah, it's fine that she's 14, but just don't with if she's black. Like, like that's like a weird.
For every 3 white, 1 black, that's okay.
Yeah, no,
like
it's
they
like
could have a whole system.
You gotta have, it's a diversity hire. But it's very, my perspective on it is the Mormon story, the whole narrative of Mormonism is very like, it's a microcosm of our American story, because it's like, we were religious in this way, we got persecuted, we went out to this place, we colonized this place that we thought was our own, that was like the chosen land, and we killed a bunch of people to do it, and then we, because we economically expanded enough, then became a valid part of, you know, the globe or country. Like it very much reflects what happened on the Mayflower and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
which I find very interesting, because that's why Utah becomes even more of a microcosm of like white centric world and the patriarchy, because that's like what America is in a grander sense. Which
It's like an America within America.
yeah, it's like a
Right.
tinier America. Yeah.
So what is it like growing up in a Mormon community? Did you like anything about it? Like, do you look back? Do you remember when you believed in it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Was it a warm feeling?
And
Yeah,
was
it
the
feels
school
good.
you went to also Mormon, or did you go to a public school?
I went to a public school that was also Mormon. You know
oh,
what I mean?
wow.
Like, I go to the public
Yeah.
school, but like at least half the kids there are Mormon.
Right.
And like all the stuff I'm saying, it's definitely changed now. It's been a good amount of time since then, but most of the time, most of the public schools or wherever you'd be, most of the people there would be, Mormon families. Like, and even though it's not a traditional, like, this is a Mormon community, it's weird to have so many people in the same state be the same thing. Now I think the makeup is maybe 30% of the people in the state, maybe.
Wow.
But it's still a lot.
Yeah. And do you remember it? Were people like, what do you? I mean, this is, I guess, but what is Mormon racism like?
I have a story. So the first time that my mom took me to church, like after they had adopted me and got me from Philadelphia, I was like in a baby, like, what do you call them, like a bassinet, right?
Yeah, you're probably a little baby, right?
Yeah, I was a little baby, and it was like folded over, like one of those little baby Yoda pods or whatever, and everybody was gathering around because it's like, oh yeah, new baby, whatever. My mom pulls back the thing, and apparently there's I'm gonna write it in the way that it's a gasp, okay?
Stop.
And somebody goes, oh, that baby's a Negro. Said the word Negro.
Oh my
First
gosh.
time in a church, my black ass called a Negro. First time I had been there.
Your parents told you that?
My mom told me that years later, yeah.
And how did your
It's a
mom?
great story.
Was your mom like rightfully offended in that moment?
Yeah, well, she goes, that's not a word we say anymore,
Right.
is something that she said. But
Okay,
like,
Mom.
that's, it was an older man, and yeah. And so there's that. There's the Mormons believing that the devil was like a black person, so they thought that black people were cursed with black skin because
Jeez.
in the pre-life they didn't decide to fight with God in like against the devil. They were like, the people were like on the fence, and everybody who was on the fence and didn't get on God's side then got sent to earth and was cursed with being black. Like that.
Were any of these teachers, was it ever uncomfortable where you're in the class and most of the people are white and the teacher's like,
Gianmarco's
guys, do you
digging
want to
for a
see?
clip. Just let you know.
The guy's like, do you want to see a picture of the devil? And
it's Chris Rock.
And
Literally.
like, it's it just seems like it would be a life full of like, do you remember when you were cognizant where you were like, oh, fuck this?
Well, here's what this was another problem with it too, is that it was that up until I want to say the 1970s. And then after they said, black people can enter, that everybody became more aware of how problematic that was. So
the devil became more like
he's Mexican.
Ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah. It's Rashida Jones now.
Yes. Gal Gadot.
And so they just kind of tried to erase the fact that that's what they were saying and putting out, and that people hadn't written a bunch of books with like a bunch of racist, weird rhetoric in it. And so I wasn't like keenly aware of all that stuff, but it would be kind of in the background, and people would say things to me sometimes and bring it up, and it's like, and my mom would sometimes prep me like in different times and go, hey, you might hear this thing, but just know that that's not true. That's not what God said. God said this other thing. God would never be racist or whatever. So like there would be things that would come up, but it wasn't like that wasn't the teaching. They didn't keep teaching that black people were cursed or whatever. It was like, I remember going to seminary in middle school. Mm-hmm. And this was like 8th grade, let's say. And seminary was this thing where it's like, you got a free period. This is how much the church controls the state in Utah. A lot of Mormon kids get this free period where you go off campus and then get like a religious class. And then, and it's like a religious building that is like just off the high school campus.
Optional?
And you walk.
Yeah, that's the question.
It's technically, it's optional.
Technically,
got to be optional. In the Mormon church, it's like
Right.
kind of required, like
Okay.
culturally required.
But they build in this, it's just called free period.
Yeah, they build in this free period. They know all these Mormon kids are going to seminary. The cool thing was, if you wanted to ditch a lot, you could.
Yeah.
By the time I stopped believing in it, I was like, I have a free
Mormonism
period.
can be kind of cool, kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can skip the seminary class during your free period.
Exactly.
Not too many times, though.
Yeah, not too many times you go to hell. But in this seminary class, I had this this seminary teacher, Brother Pond, who was doing this whole shout out to Brother Pond.
What up?
Like he watches this. He had this whole lesson about why God did not allow African Americans into the church until 1978. And
It was all twisted and
yeah, it was like this weird justification of like,
Right.
well, back in the day, God only, had the Israelites as his chosen people, but then he expanded that to the Gentiles, and then later he expanded that to like women maybe, and then later so
I like the
as
whole
you
lesson.
see-
He's like, and then, well, okay.
Yeah.
listen,
like for an
I have
hour.
black friends.
right.
Guys, stop.
Guys, Jesus has black friends.
I like hip hop.
That was a time when there was like a lesson of like the explanation made me more skeptical.
Right.
That was probably the first germinations of like, that sounded like bullshit.
More
what you just
skeptical
told
than
me.
if they were just like, yeah, we were racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Still kinda
I
are.
would have
Yeah.
taken that
Yeah.
where it's like, yeah, this is built on the, whatever. And it
Well, that's the
doesn't.
problem. That's the problem with religion, because like the source material has to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
Right.
can't ever say that was wrong, because to say that was wrong, it undermines the whole shebang.
They do this both sides thing though. Mormons do this both sides thing where they go, it's the word of God. The prophet interprets the word of God and or gets told the word of God and says it, and the prophet is the one who says exactly what God is saying. And then they turn around and go, well, the church is run by men, and men are fallible, and blah blah
Right.
blah, and the prophet is a man and is fallible. The prophet will never lead you astray, but he's also a man and he's fallible. It's like
And
these
God
are
never
two,
came back and said, "Hey, whoa, what the fuck is this shit?"
Right.
Exactly. It's never
But I understand why they do that, but this is just the not understanding religious people in general, or at least especially those that subscribe to like a church, where I'm like, how do you balance this in your brain? Because to me,
right, that's why if you're like someone like you, like it just doesn't make sense after a while.
Yeah.
Like you enter high school. Same for me with like Catholicism. You're just like, it doesn't make sense, and I'm like coming into my cognitive being.
Did you have a moment with Catholicism like where you said?
Well, it was
what?
always just like boring as fuck. So I was never.
And that's the other thing. If we had gone to like a black church, because
Oh,
Mormonism's like
game over.
Catholicism
Yeah.
with like less like cool buildings.
Snooze fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we had gone to like a cool
A more
church where you
boring
get up and
Catholicism.
If I went to black church, I would be praying every single day.
I would still be. That's
Yeah.
why black people are so religious. Yeah, you're having
it's
fun. White people are atheists because you made church suck.
Yeah.
It's like
Black
the whole
church,
thing.
the music slaps.
Yeah.
People are dancing and stuff. But with the Catholicism thing, to me, it's like there's too much dissonance to maintain it. So that's
you
like,
can't be trying to like explain the hypocrisy. Just like, let's sing a song.
Yeah.
Let's sing a good gospel song, and we're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the brain, then you stay in it.
Yeah. And I think Catholicism,
Sometimes it's harder to get out.
it can be very
mentally.
hard to get out. Catholicism at least it's been around long enough so it's like it got to that point where it's like either you're in or you're out, kind of.
Yeah.
Where Mormonism was very
I
much like
teacher. You asked the teacher some question like, wait, why did they let black people in 1978? Look,
like, hey,
you're either in or you're out.
in or out.
I don't know what to tell you,
get
buddy.
with it or get out. I don't care.
God works in mysterious ways. Whatever you need to say to
Yada,
yourself.
yada, yada.
Yeah, what do you want to hear? Mormonism is so much, and especially Salt Lake City Mormonism, because Mormons are like this in general, but in the epicenter of it, it's all just like, we're in this bubble. They tell you not to read they tell you not to read other religious texts because they're like, this is, you could get some funny ideas if you read anything else. Like, I think pre-internet, it was able to continue for a long time as a self-sustained bubble before people got access to sort of their own information by their own means. Like, if I didn't grow up with the internet, I might still be Mormon right now.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, because that's when I started like learning stuff.
Because it's hard. It would be really hard to get out if that's all you know.
Yeah.
Right?
If that's your whole world of information, the schools.
That's why there's
the
like
churches,
one
the community.
person from every community that's said something in the history of
Sure.
communities.
Yes.
Like Martin Luther was the only one to be like, what's going on here?
Right. One person's like, I think the earth is round.
Yeah.
I think maybe the earth is round.
And then
everyone's
they
like,
put him
it's
in
flat.
jail.
And then they kill him.
And then they
kill
him.
Literally.
So when did it feel like you made a decision in terms of like leaving? Did you tell your parents?
I did tell my parents. It took a while because I want to say this was like post-divorce. I was 15, 16 where I was like, I don't think I believe this. But then my mom was always working. I kind of had to take care of my brothers. So it was just like for structure and just kind of doing something that I knew was going to make my mom happy because she would work so much so she wouldn't be like getting us to church. So I'd get people to church.
Were your brothers their biological children or adopted as well?
They're adopted and they're biological brothers with each other.
Okay.
So they were adopted
Wow.
like 8 years after me. So
Interesting.
they were younger than me. And it was like I was kind of getting everybody to go to church and whatever. And there was a point where it just became I didn't have to go that much because my mom would be busy and tired and she wouldn't have the energy to get mad about not going. And so I would do it less and less because it's hard to get two young kids like 6 and 7 like let's go to church, the three of us, me as a 16-year-old, like that's frustrating.
Yeah.
And so I just wouldn't do it that much. And then I was like kind of getting out of this. Part of what keeps you so involved in the church too is like your two parents who are telling you this and everything in the community. And you think that God has blessed you because everything in your life is going right a lot. And like my life just like was not. There was like the divorce. We were poor. I had to like, and I was like, everybody seems to be having such a good time with all this God stuff. And I personally am not having a great time and I'm still being told the same stuff.
Right.
Why are we, and they're like, oh, well, you just gotta, let go and let God and whatever. And I was like, that kind of feels like bullshit.
Was that the phrase? Let go and let God?
Oh yeah. I feel like I'm full of those like random sort of stupid phrases like
Keep sweet.
Yeah, keep the faith.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith. Remember who you are. That's one they'd say a lot when you go
Oh.
out. Remember who you are.
You're like atheist.
Yeah. Yeah. I am not this.
And
Yeah.
Is there a thing in the Mormon church like the equivalent of confirmation in the Catholic? Like, is
Yeah,
there
you
like
get baptized. 8 years old. You put on
8
your
years old.
white clothes. You get baptized by immersion. You go
8
underwater.
years old.
How?
Well-
wait, is it a big pool? You go all the way in?
Yeah, they dunk you all the way in. But there's also, so like with Mormon ceremony, there's also going through the temple. And doing that is when you get old enough to like, you know about the special underwear or whatever, the Mormon garments.
Yeah.
Once
I
you
don't
get,
know about the garments.
there's they look like
You see underneath his yellow shirt right now?
yeah, right.
Right.
This
This
is a
actually
magic
does
garment.
kind of look like it.
Yeah.
It looks like old people underwear, like
People
from
wear
the
them?
1880s.
Oh,
yeah,
that's what you wear for
under their
baptized
clothes.
or for everything?
For everything.
Oh, wow.
When you're an adult, after you've gotten married, or when you go on your mission, you go through the temple and you get. You take your temple covenants, what they call it,
Mm-hmm.
and you basically promise to like never betray God or whatever. And they do all this ceremonial type stuff that's supposed to be secret. They don't want anybody to like talk about it. To
Did you do any of
non-Mormons.
this?
I did not. But it's supposed to be like secret, so I'm probably gonna get shot on
It's
my way out
after
of here.
marriage.
No way. This is on Google. It's on Reddit.
No, it's on.
What do they do?
You can find it. No, I think back in the day, up until 1990 or something, they used to like do some like bloodletting rituals. They
Oh my
stopped doing
God.
that.
Yeah.
They basically do this thing that's like the creation myth
Mm-hmm.
of God, but like there are actors sort of portraying Adam and Eve and God and stuff like that, and they just do
This
a
sounds
big whole-
awesome. I would love
I'm
to
obsessed.
do this.
Big story
We're like,
production.
are they booking?
I'll let
Right,
them,
who
I'll
books
do
that?
the bloodlet too if I
Really?
get the full
If I
experience.
could
I know.
open-
I did not see this on Actors Access.
do a quick 10 minutes up top.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, let's God's in the house tonight.
Adam is definitely a non-union gig. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
You're naked. You're wearing one leaf. You're
Yeah.
like,
It
fuck,
sucks.
I
No,
need
it
the
sucks.
work.
$200.
You gotta. And then they have this like sheet, right, where they have these like they're like secret handshake type things that you do, where you do a secret handshake with a guy through a sheet.
Oh, wow.
It's there's so much.
And that's after
I mean,
marriage.
yeah, it's if you're gonna get married or like when you get old enough.
Okay.
I was out just before this.
Okay.
I
Go
barely.
back in and do this. This
I
is
mean,
great.
I probably
We
could.
need
I
to give
could
him a
really get back
GoPro.
into it.
Yeah.
I'm going in, doing all the ceremonies with a GoPro
Yeah,
just on
literally.
my head. I was like, no, I'm not going to tell anybody. Don't
It's my
worry
third
about
eye.
it. Yeah, it's opening up. So yeah, it's a lot of very like high church, like ceremonial stuff that's like based a lot on like Freemasonry type stuff and
Yeah.
like that kind
Right.
of like weirdness. And they really want it to
How's
be
it
like
Jew-
secret.
Jews
and
are,
stuff, yeah.
everyone says Jews run the world, and then people do this
Then
shit.
Mormons do this
people
shit.
should eat this shit up. Like, if you're a conspiracy theorist, this sounds like they have fucking Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
And then they did a secret handshake through a sheet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jews were just at the deli, and we're like,
No,
people are like,
Mormons
they're
are
the
doing
ones.
They like a
everything.
good brisket.
Yeah.
Mormons
that's
are
all.
doing everything that people accuse Jews of doing.
Right.
Mormons are the ones who are trying to convert you. Mormons are the ones who are trying to control you. They fucking they do baptisms for the dead, where you go and pretend to be somebody who's died, and you get a little card, and you're like, I'm getting baptized on behalf of this person, and then they like send it to the afterlife in like some God email, right? They did that for people like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Anne Frank. I know I pointed at you when
They
I said
did
Anne
it for
Frank.
Anne Frank?
They did.
Wow.
So in their mind,
It was a
like
big
God
controversy.
goes down to heaven and is like, Anne? No, not you. Anne Frank, come on
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
Someone did it for you.
Uh-huh.
Not Hesh.
They bring Anne up, and Anne's like, all the Nazis that got you, they're up there.
Yeah.
Because, they fucking did the right things.
No, but that's what it was a big controversy when it happened, but they do that because
Do they publicly announce we're going to do this for Anne Frank?
I don't know if it's super public. I don't know how public it, like what the process of it, but they do it where they like go like, these are the baptisms for the dead, and it's public information who
For
they've
the
done
day.
it
So
for.
they just have a couple
Right.
celebrities a day.
There are a couple.
anyone.
There are different people, like a lot of people in the past that they've done it for, where they say that like, well, they can either like confirm it or deny it in heaven, like accept it or not want to do it. But it's still like a very odd thing to do, to say we're gonna like baptize on behalf of these dead
That just
people
seems
without
to
their
be
consent.
asking to really just piss people off.
Yeah, people have been mad about that for a long time.
Wow.
That's one of the many controversies of Mormonism.
Right.
Anne Frank.
Wow.
I just imagine Anne being so confused
Yeah.
as to what.
It's like, what did I die for? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would I? No.
Do they do it any more recent? Like, do they do it with like recent people, like
They-
Anna Nicole Smith? They're like, hey, this will
Right.
appeal to-
Cobain
or
or
like
something?
when the Queen
Kurt-
died, they probably did it
Sure.
for her.
I mean, I'm sure someone might do it eventually. I'm not caught up with what's going on with
Right.
Mormonism right now, but it's mostly
Do
something.
you want them to do it for you?
No. I mean, I've already been baptized, so they don't need to do that.
Right.
Oh, right,
It's
right,
for
right.
non-Mormons.
Exactly. Or people who didn't have the opportunity to get
Right.
baptized in their mortal physical life.
Right.
Sure.
I'm
Giving
understanding.
them
If they hit up all
opportunity now.
everyone who was in JFL New Faces 2022.
Yeah. It's mostly something people do for families and stuff.
Right.
Their great grandfather
Got
was
it.
not baptized, but they're Mormon and they feel like so many people
And I
are Mormon,
imagine
so
you
they're
got to
gonna-
pay for it.
Yeah. And you pay tithing to the church, 10% of your income.
10%.
10% of your
Every year?
income. I fucking
Do
every
they just
10%
assume,
across the board.
Or are you filling out
Wow.
forms?
You
your
fill out a
W-9
form.
in, your church 9 comes
That's
in?
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
10%.
10% is a lot.
Well, what? We give 10% to
Yeah,
people
we
all
give
the
we
time.
give 10%, but
I know. I'm thinking
but
of
they actually
that
do
my,
stuff
all of
for
my
me.
10% on top of Mormon.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mormon
It's
10.
up to 60.
Yeah.
I have a lawyer.
You have a lawyer too?
Wow, that's a lot.
Okay.
Hey, we're moving up.
Who's yours?
I
Joseph Smith.
Yeah, Joseph Smith.
Joseph
exactly.
Smith.
He's good.
He's a good guy.
So this is wild. I mean, Mormonism is very interesting.
There's a lot to it that
Because,
I feel like I forget even. There's like so
Right.
much more that I'm not even representing because there's just so much.
I think just because it's the same way with Scientology, where because it's a newer religion, we have all the insane growing problems like right in front of us. There's
Yeah.
footage, there's video footage
Right.
of this, all this shit. I'm sure Catholicism was interesting way back then, but now
course.
it's
Still
just.
is.
Are you into it? You're into Catholicism?
Well, just all the kid shit that they try.
What's the name of the Pope?
Actively trying to keep quiet.
What's the name of the current pope?
Currently, I don't know. Francis, maybe.
What's the name of the pope that just died?
Benedict.
there you go.
Is that right?
That's pretty good.
Are those both right?
You're fucking
Those are
nut.
both right.
Nice.
I think so.
Yeah. No, those are both right.
Are you? What's your religious
Francis,
beliefs
and
now?
Francis has been more progressive lately, and people are getting
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah, more progressive for the Catholic
For the
Church.
cat, dude, they've been stuck in stone for millions of
Yeah.
years, and it's only because the kid shit started coming out that they're changing.
And he's like,
their shit.
yeah, people got to think we're cool.
You can have sex.
Yeah,
okay,
but with
so
not children.
here's a question.
Yeah.
Did you have any girlfriends or anything in high school, and what
Nope.
was that like?
Nope. No, I had
What was
one.
your sex ed like?
The sex ed. Well, yeah, I mean, it's don't do it.
Yeah.
But don't do it on top of religious. Don't do it.
Right.
No girlfriends.
We can't blame sex ed for that, Skyler.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
no. That was also that was more of a race thing than a than a Mormon thing.
Did you have any black friends? Like, were there any other, or
A
did you
little
feel
bit.
like?
A little bit, but
Were your
not
brothers
a
white?
lot. My younger adopted brothers are both black.
Okay.
I didn't have any close black friends until high school, and even the one person that I'm thinking of is not that close. It was one of these things where like every black person typically that would even just be in my high school was like basketball or football team,
Right.
and then there were like a smattering of us in like other places, and we didn't really do a good job of like uniting as a community.
Yeah. So then, what is it like? First of all, do you have any religious beliefs now, or are you a hardcore atheist?
I was a hardcore atheist
Like
for
Maddy.
a while, but it
I go with whatever's trendy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're spiritual now. You're doing all the meditating.
A Buddhist. The white girls are doing Buddhism.
White girls.
Yeah.
My white mother's doing Buddhism now. So yeah.
Oh.
No, this is the new
Is
wave.
it still trendy? I feel like there was a time when it was trendy. I don't hear about Buddhism
Well,
much
white
anymore.
girls do Buddhism and they manifest and do gratitude now.
Yeah, they fake.
and
they
yeah.
fake spiritual.
Yeah, they do.
That's actually
More individualism.
That's a big thing of mine that bothers me is the white spirituality thing. Anyway,
I'll take it over astrology any day.
yeah, well,
I'll take loose-
astrology is part of it though. That's the
Sure,
problem. is it's-
astrology I can't handle, and I can't handle how there's some people who are like, oh, there's some people that want you to be like accepting of astrology, like be
it's not
welcoming of
insane.
other, like it's not insane, like it's not insane, like I'm supposed to like listen to hear about any of it. It's
It's the moon. It's the moon.
I know.
It's the moon.
It used to be like fun to read your horoscopes, and now it's like crazy.
People have gotten so aggressive about it, and everybody accuses me of being hateful of astrology because I'm a Gemini, and everybody hates on Gemini.
People hate Gemini. You should change that.
I should
transition from that.
I'm going to transition.
There's some comedian in San Diego. It was just something about how liberal people, we believe in you. You know, you can be who you want to be, and but when it comes to astrology, you cannot.
Yeah.
You are this.
I know.
Yeah. So I would say, I guess I'm like a little bit agnostic. I used to be a lot more atheist. Then I've done enough drugs and psychedelics and ayahuasca and stuff that I've seen some stuff and had some hallucinations that were like, well, that was a lot. And I feel like maybe there's something. I'm still intellectually materialist in the fact that like my neurons were firing in a certain way and they made something happen.
Right.
That said, from my conscious point of view, which is the only thing that we have to observe the universe, I would swear on my life that one time I did travel between dimensions while I was on ayahuasca.
Right.
But, you know, so
It's
who
very funny.
knows?
I don't disagree, and that's why I want to do ayahuasca. Or the reason I haven't done it,
Did you poop your pants?
Nope.
Okay, people do that sometimes.
they poop their pants.
I have to ask.
One time I did have to poop, but there was a
Right.
bathroom.
Oh, good,
But
good.
it was good.
I heard of people pooping their pants.
No, it
I heard the throw up. I
happens.
did not hear about the pooping the
I heard the
pants.
pooping
It
the
goes
pants.
both ways. It comes out both ways. If you do
Imagine
it,
you're like, dude, I just saw God. No, you just shat your pants.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Huge
that
difference.
happens. That happens. Sometimes God is shitting your pants. That's
Yeah.
what, God is shitting
God
through
is-
you.
yeah.
That's what made you do it. Is God sent you such a powerful message that it transmuted through you and turned to shit, and you shit it out immediately, and it like explodes out of you. That's what
I'm
ayahuasca
shitting
is,
through
and it feels
you.
amazing. And it feels amazing when you do it.
When you say you change dimensions, can you describe it at all, or can you not even describe it?
I had a lot of the experiences where I can't describe this. If I were to describe it in any way, it was like having a dream, you know, but I didn't feel as if I fell asleep, and I didn't feel myself waking from sleep.
Well, I believe now.
Yeah.
I believe in God
Interesting.
now.
Very interesting.
Do you ever want to do ayahuasca?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a lot. I think I'm done. I think I've done it
only
enough.
started like picking up weed last year. So I
Really?
think
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were new to weed. I thought
Well,
you were cool.
I know, right?
Listen,
I
Maddy.
smoked heavily in my early 20s, dropped off, fixed a lot of mental health issues, got back into weed when it didn't make me feel like an insane person. Now it's just fun. So that's
It's
why
fun
I'm like
sometimes.
all
I
the
have
drug stuff. I'm
existential.
like, as I grow as a person, I'll probably be open to it. But currently, I don't need to be doing ayahuasca.
I did shrooms recently, and I'm very happy I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't see God or anything, but felt a certain like everything's an organism.
Yeah.
Right.
Very cliche.
It
It's very,
does-
it's very,
Never.
yeah. It's just funny in that moment that I can't help in my head being like, oh, everything's one. Wow, really original. But it's like
Everything
that's a profound thought.
It really is
Enjoy
a
the
profound
Everything
thought.
is
profundity of
kinda
that thought.
one.
Well, that's where the cliches come from. Is
Right.
they're truisms because they're true.
Right.
And so it's like basic and true, but like of course it becomes cliche because it's been said. I had one very deep like ayahuasca trip where I was like, I came out of it being like, the answer is love. And I really felt that. And I was so aware of like, I know. It's just like it's a cliche, I know, but like that's the thing, man. It's all love, man. Everything is love, dude. Like it is how it feels.
Everything is love. Well, let's go on to we gotta wrap this up. Our next segment is This Has Gotta Stop. Here it is.
This has gotta stop.
This has gotta stop.
Mormonism.
Mormonism. I think we have established
Immediately.
that.
Oh my god.
Do you have a lot of friends who are still Mormon?
I have one. I have two friends. They're a couple. They're still Mormon. That they're very smart, and I think would not even maybe take a little bit of exception to what I said, even on this podcast. But like they're great and very funny, and so they're the only people who I would in my world sort of allow to still be Mormon, because otherwise I don't really have like friends like that, because it just how can we be friends? But with them, it's somehow like they're so like smart and interesting that I like have had conversations with them about it, and they're just like, at the end of the day, it's like what works for them, and like it's how they were raised, and whatever.
Yeah, I wish, but I would have trouble getting to that next level of closeness with someone if they subscribe to a system that I found so fundamentally strange that if they confess to knowing anything or feeling that like this is the answer, if they said I like this community, I'd be like okay, but if they believed that this wasn't just a guy who just said a bunch of shit and it was the right time and the right place,
well, yes, and not even to speak for them, but they have like at certain points left the church and been like not really into, so there, it's I don't know exactly what their relationship with it is, especially like right now. I just know that like they're people who you meet them and you're like, I would not immediately or even for a while maybe know that they were this religious in this way, and I don't with who they are, and I love them so much, I don't like even count that as like something against them, whereas most people, I'm like, I can't form a relationship with you at all if you're this deeply religious about anything.
Do you still feel a little bit of an otherness since you were raised in a Mormon community, and like being like is there anything about you that you're like, oh, I'm different because I grew up in this community?
Oh yeah, all the time. I feel like a man without a culture. I feel like I don't have I feel like I don't have a culture sometimes, because it's like, well, yes, I'm black, and that has been my experience, and I've been outside of everything forever, and then I'm like, I've gotten older and tried to like, self-blacktualize or whatever.
Is that a term, self-blacktualize?
It's something that I made up.
I like
Sure,
it.
but it makes sense. I mean, but did you feel like you were catching up on like
a lot of stuff? Yeah, a lot of stuff, and all the time I feel like I'm catching up on stuff. And
Me too.
And then you're trying to get into the self-actualize as well. You gotta for a while
I
now.
know.
You gotta.
Sure.
Every season I go back, I think I'm ready to go, and there's new slang.
Yeah.
do you like are you ever like with a group of black people and you go like, oh, I feel like I don't belong here?
Well, there has been. It's less and less over time. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's because I've changed, because I've grown. Because I moved to Chicago and started stand up when I was 20. So that that's a different trajectory too.
Sure.
And you're learning stuff, and so that like not as much, but it also depends on like the type of. It's also about like types of people who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
But I feel all the time like I feel a little bit alienated because of my past being outside that way, and I feel like I was like alienated even starting out. So now I think of like people talk about like growing up or whatever, like talk about like their culture with fondness or something like that, or how they related to oh, the food was like this or the music was like this or whatever. And I have that where I was in that culture but alienated from it and not even liking it. I'm not like, oh yeah, the food that we ate in Utah, the types of stuff that Utah people would do. It's like, yeah, there is that. What am I going to fucking talk about? Like Pioneer Day, the fake second 4th of July holiday where they celebrate I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. That's all like, that was alienating to me. So yeah, I do feel very out of place even still. And it's a problem when it comes to like stand up or the industry and stuff, because then so much of industry stuff is about like who you are, identity,
brand,
what's your thing
brand.
and thing. And then like, well, I'm like, I don't even want to be defined by that either. Like I also just want to be, existing in this. So I feel that that's another level of alienation. It just like, yeah, I I do. To answer your question, yes.
Alienated. Well, I feel like that was This Has Got to Stop in its own way.
Oh,
Mormonism.
shit, yeah.
Well, I have a question. What's the cuisine?
The cuisine?
Yes.
Yeah. Think of like any sort of Midwest type.
Casseroles and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of casseroles, a lot of...
But multiple wives are working on it at
Yeah,
once.
so it's a big-ass
really
casserole.
Right. Guinness Records type shit.
There'd be 7-layer dips a lot, and...
Wait, I'm moving to Utah.
Yeah.
Would you want multiple husbands? Do you think that would be fun?
No.
No?
Too much.
Yeah.
I respectly, I really don't like men that much.
Yeah.
One is good.
That makes sense.
One is good because
When you say that, because I hear that, but like, do you really like?
I like
do you
when
really
I'm in a
mean
big
it?
group of men. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's not. I'm like, boo, men. I like hanging around women. I would have sister wives for sure.
That's
Sure.
But when I have like a boyfriend,
called a sorority.
him and me, him and me 1-on-1 is awesome. But then me and all his friends, Not awesome.
Yeah.
I like one. I like one at a time.
I like
I like
hanging
one-on-one
out
connection with one man.
I feel that way about men and women too. Like, I don't like hanging out with that many dudes that much either, because you get to be dudes and there's a bunch of us and like where everybody's like trying to be louder than each other, and I feel very like I want to sit down and talk about my feelings and
Me
stuff.
too, with
Sure.
one-
And I'm like,
one person.
Well, it depends
And
on
just one
dudes. That's why I'm
person.
always
Yeah,
with
that's
like
true.
theater dudes or gay men.
Yeah.
Right.
And it feels like, but like bros.
Yeah.
I could never be in a
But
fraternity.
also,
Yeah.
but it's also like that's the other thing when I'm like talking to black men too. It's like we can sit down and talk about things that we actually feel and the certain alienations that we feel just regularly, and even in the ways that like we interact with like dating or whatever or all of that stuff. Like that feels very like real and personal to me. So I like the one-on-oneness of that too. But when it comes to like, yeah, like, oh, it's gonna be a group of all of us, it feels like it becomes so fake and so much posturing so quickly.
That's what I feel like my boyfriends would be posturing in front of each other for
Yeah.
me. Yeah. One. That's what one.
Yeah, you
In
can
a
only do
closed
one.
room. And you say, tell me everything bad you ever done. And then you determine if he's safe.
Sure.
Yeah, and you have to like chain him up before he
yeah.
tells you. And so,
Radiator.
yeah.
Let's go on to our final segment.
You better count
Wait, that
your
was a segment? We just
blessings.
This has got to stop. And are you okay on time?
Yeah.
Oh, do you
I'm
have
the
this?
co-host. Why just...
What? I felt bad. I was pushing. We were both going over.
Oh, you're good.
Do you have this has got to stop?
Yeah, I did.
Then let's
Well,
go back.
This has gotta stop.
This has got to
Hey.
stop.
Sometimes Gianmarco likes to bend the rules of our podcast. So
You're
annoying.
always
just trying
you're
to
a
be nice.
rascal. You're a rascal.
Listen, one day.
He's a rascal.
Listen, one day. I hope to get to that Joe Rogan place where I'm like, I hope you cleared out your day for this.
Right,
I hope
right.
Because we're doing
Well, it's
3
5
hours.
p.m. I don't think anyone's doing a 6 p.m. show or open
I
mic.
just remember my agent sitting me down. He's like, there's like 3 ways to like sell out shows. You either like big social media, TV thing, or Joe Rogan. And he wasn't saying it like do Joe Rogan, but he was
No, he's
just he was like, this is a legitimate prong
model.
to
Right.
having a touring career.
Right.
Yeah.
He was like, you do the Maddy Smith route and get on Wild and Out, and then 6 years later, you're selling out funny bones everywhere.
Selling out.
Rogan. No? I remember
How
the
much
first
papering? How much papering we doing?
What's your this has got to stop?
Well, I was gonna do something completely different because I was gonna talk shit on Elon Musk, but because it came up,
Can I pee quickly?
Yeah, go pee.
Okay.
that's gotta stop. No, just kidding.
Wait, stop.
Should I wait or should I just do it?
No, just do it
go.
because the
Just go.
editing.
Okay.
Maddie, do you care if we keep that in?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Skylar, don't put the mic next to the. Go.
My this gotta stop is that because it came up, the whole sort of white woman spirituality thing, and it's
Good
not
that we got
just
Maddie out of
women.
here before we got
no,
into the
it's
depths
just
of this.
it's very just this white like the cultural appropriation of like Hinduism and Taoism and Buddhism and all this stuff as to justify like this manifestation through people who have trust funds and are like it's not manifestation, that's white privilege is what you're talking about. You've got that.
Now
don't
that's
like
a bit. I think the idea of people thinking the universe. It's like, oh, the universe helped us. No, your rich dad did.
Yeah, exactly.
The
And it's something that really gets me because it is not in many ways based on any understanding of these concepts at all. It's like plucking these concepts and completely divorcing them from their cultural, actual history and identity and the community around them, and then just going like, ooh, I'm like doing whatever with like crystals and stuff. And it's like, fucking African children mine those crystals.
Right.
And now you're using it to help your fucking
And you're
back.
doing your gratitude in a workbook you bought at Rite Aid.
Yeah.
That's like, be your best self in 2023.
But I'll tell you, there really is this thing now where if you like insult astrology or insult that, I feel a degree where it's like, look at typical guy. Look at this guy being just, oh, you're going to mansplain the planets to me, and you get stuck, gets trapped.
Yeah. Right.
Now, do you have friends who are into crystals?
No, not really.
That's good.
I have friends
I
who...
can't handle it. I can't. You can do it. I'm not going to attack you if you're into crystals, but I can't be. If Tova got really into crystals all of a sudden,
don't
it would
really
be
know
a
what they
struggle.
do.
It would be a struggle because
Yeah.
I would just feel like saying all the time, like, though, Right.
Well,
Right.
here's,
Right.
but the
Right.
problem too with it is like there's a problematic element to it, and so people can because I didn't mean to make it like I don't want to make it so gendered because astrology is part of this and blah blah blah.
Right.
But the fact that it's like it's often very white centric. It's the people I met through doing ayahuasca. I met a lot of these super woo-woo spiritual people. These people think that they're good because they have abstracted themselves from their accountability by adopting these new words and all
Right.
this type of stuff. But they're still like oppressive and they will be weirdly like conservative. And there's that whole like, there's this weird alt-right edge to like wellness culture that's gotten very weird. And there's like this like very like psychedelic like anti-Semitic type culture that happens where it's people who like, you know, take you take psychedelics, you go, a lot of this stuff is lies, you know?
Yeah.
And then people start getting into like conspiratorial, the big lie, don't take vaccines. Like,
Right.
And it's always like
Right.
it's never like, ooh, everything is one, including my bank account.
Right.
It's
Right.
never a lesson other than I feel better about not dying now.
yeah.
And it's all self-serving.
It's all very
all
self-centered.
self-serving. It's so individualistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we westernize Eastern spirituality like that,
Let me
that
tell you,
has got to stop.
I feel like it's a new weapon now. Next time someone talks astrology, instead of me being like, that's stupid, I'm going to be like, that's cultural appropriation.
exactly.
Because there's one way to freak out a couple white people, to
Yeah.
accuse them of cultural appropriation.
Knock them down with CA, game over. They'll write a no-tap apology real quick.
Great. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Let's go on to
You better count your blessings.
Douglas Goodhart on the mic.
Now, this was played at the Mormon church.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
We'd be joining now.
Right.
It would have been better. Google Mormon Tabernacle
I've
Choir.
been there. I went there when
yeah?
I did Wise Guys, and
Yeah.
that shit was crazy.
You went to like the show?
They do a rehearsal on Thursdays. You can go for free.
Ooh, was it good?
Yeah, acoustics
Technically,
were
it's
crazy.
good. The
but
acoustics are good. It's
very,
not songs you'd want to listen to.
no,
It's hymns.
Things like
That's so
Amazing
cool you
Grace
went.
and some other ones.
I
And
want to go back to Wise Guys just so I can go to that.
very simplistic building.
Yeah.
Wise Guys was a great. I had a great time at Wise Guys.
Wise Guys is great.
Yeah.
They were the audiences are not sensitive. They were
No,
like
they're
the fun
great.
Mormons. I mean, I don't know if it's good or not because I'm like you're wrong, but they had fun.
There's not.
No,
I
but
the
the-
Mormons aren't in the crowd. I
Not
didn't have
really.
Mormons
The
in
people who go out to Wise Guys are all the people who are who would have been like me growing up there, or if I live there
Right.
now, who are like, I'm so tired of being here, and like everybody's
Yeah,
acting
yeah,
like
yeah.
this. So
Right.
they will love the comedy because
Yeah.
they're like they're making fun of the stuff that we feel like all the time, and it's somebody from you're from out of town, you're
Right.
coming in, you're making fun of it. You're like, they get it, they see what the thing is.
Yeah.
I had a amazing set there when I headlined the first time. It was great.
All right. Well, if we get into talking about amazing sets we all had, we're
No,
gonna
no,
be
no!
here
I
for
just
like-
love.
No,
I just
I
love
know,
the
I
place.
know.
No,
I know.
sorry, I
No,
didn't
no,
mean
I'm
to brag.
joking.
I just thought it was really special.
No,
about
we'll
that show.
title this. Skyler had an amazing set in
I had
Utah.
an amazing set. It was so good.
It's so good. so good.
So this is
man.
where we say one thing we're thankful for.
Okay, with your easternized, westernized
Easternized.
booze. I can't talk right now.
Yeah.
What's
Buddhism.
something you're thankful for?
I'm thankful
small,
for
big.
Seltzer. I'm thankful for LaCroix.
Yeah.
Always that shit
Yeah.
pulls through clutch.
You walked in. Maddie walked in. She said she texted before.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have water? She like made sure, and of course I had water.
well,
There
some
we
people
six.
they have water, but it's like they give you like a dusty old glass
Sure.
of warm tap water. And
When I
you
said,
know what
Maddie,
I
do you-
mean when I say, do you have water?
But when I said, Maddie, do you want to sell? She said, I want two and two different flavors. It was
Yeah.
very, very specific. It's
and I'm
like,
grateful for them. Just
can I tell you, I have a writer, a writer for some of these comedy
Yeah.
clubs.
Mine
And like,
has seltzer in it.
you might have seltzer in it. So I go there.
Yeah.
And they bought 24 cans of seltzer for me. And I'm like, oh, I feel bad. They wasted. Like sometimes I say coffee and I like almond milk. And then they buy a jug of
Every
almond milk.
time.
And I'm like, and then I end up not even having coffee because I don't have coffee that late.
I know.
I need to take it out of the writer, frankly.
My qualm with the seltzer rider is it's a 24 pack of plain seltzer. I'm like, mix it up. I need to be more grateful. I'm grateful for seltzer.
You're grateful for seltzer. What's your
Yeah.
favorite liqueur flavor?
Limoncello.
Oh, I hate limoncello.
Really?
I hate
I
it.
love
I got
it.
it, and Russell had to drink all of
It's
it.
like a lemon pie.
Ugh,
Delicious.
I am a plain pamplemousse. I like plain. I like pamplemousse Coconut sometimes.
Okay.
What's your flavor? La Croix flavor.
I like a watermelon. I like a watermelon.
Watermelon.
How often have you had? This was my first one. It said it was new.
Really? Well, I like it. I don't know. I don't think I have it like committed
Take
to
another
memory.
on your way out. Every time I get a new flavor, I'm like, I'm gonna hate it. I know it.
They have
I'm gonna
some
hate
weird
it.
flavors
like
coming
it.
out too, like hibiscus and stuff like that.
Hibiscus,
Sucks.
I'd be
It's not
interested
good.
in.
Cherry blossom.
Some people hate LaCroix.
I know. They're just not.
I think it's good.
educated.
I just think you can't let it get flat. You can't let it get flat.
Yeah,
No
you
way.
can't
The
let it
people
get
who
flat.
these people who drink it flat, what are you doing?
Well-
Get out of here. Get out of my
I tell you,
country.
I like drinking seltzer on
insane.
stage, but then I get all burpy.
Oh, yeah,
I
you
know.
can't.
I'll get all burpy, and sometimes
can't.
that burp comes as you're doing the punchline. You got to do a little off the mic.
I hate
Not
that.
good.
Do you
Pellegrino,
really
a
drink
cold
seltzer
Pellegrino
on
at the
stage?
Seltzer before,
Yeah,
or-
Pellegrino. I
Oh
have
my
Pellegrino
God.
at the cellar every fucking night.
I should have said a cold Pellegrino at the Seltzer. At the cellar.
Yeah, the comedy seltzer. I get a good. Yes, I do,
Yeah.
and I get burpy, and that's why the set didn't go great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Do you have something you're thankful for?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm thankful for freaking New York City, man. I've been
Yeah.
here for a
Nice.
month. It's really
That's
cool.
crazy. You
thinking about-
started off complaining, and
And
now
then
we're here.
now I like booking and doing things. You know,
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
the whole thing, full
Absolutely.
circle. I really love this city. I love the amount of cultures that are here. I love
Are you gonna move here?
Yeah, eventually, soonish.
Which
you
comes
know?
first, meeting your biological mother or moving to New York City?
New York first.
Really
This
procrastinating.
mom's never happening.
Never.
No, exactly,
Never.
because I have so many things to do.
Right.
I'm booked. I'm busy.
What
Busy.
state does she live in?
I don't know.
Do you have a number?
No.
So you'd have to go to your dad and get the number?
Yeah.
Do you know if the dad and her ever fuck?
What now?
Yeah.
Now, no.
Why?
Now, no. Well, he's married now.
Oh.
He's married. He's got other kids. He doesn't have time for that.
Have
He
you
doesn't
ever met
time for
your half siblings?
Yeah, definitely.
Are they cool?
Yeah, they're great.
What's your dad do?
He runs a t-shirt company.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Shit. Does he
Pennsylvania?
do with merch? Because I need a new merch person.
Is he in Philly?
Yeah, he's in Philly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Has he ever seen you do stand up?
Oh, plenty of times.
Oh, cool.
Plenty of times.
I
He's
like your
very supportive. He's, biggest fan type.
If
thing.
you're on your deathbed, do you want your biological dad to be there?
My biological dad, yes. My adopted dad, no.
No?
He should already
Yeah,
be
what's
dead,
his deal?
hopefully.
Is he?
Oh, he sucks.
Hey, what about this for a
If your
movie
mom's
pitch?
getting into Buddhism, your dad sucks.
Yeah.
How about this for a movie pitch?
Yeah.
You setting up your biological dad with your adopted mom.
Okay.
How about that?
I
Hey,
like
hey,
it.
Okay.
I've never heard that done before.
Okay.
The
It's like a
parent
parent trap. Adopted parent
All my
trap.
movie
Yeah.
pitches are inspired. I'm working on a Parent Trap movie right now, but that is so interesting. Where you love and in this movie your adopted parents are still married, so you got to break it up and get your dad. That's cool.
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
Right at
That's a
that.
couple of things. Okay.
Parent trap.
I'm thankful
house.
for Parent.
And we're all
Trap-
on crack?
Parent Trap House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
And we're all on crack. Yeah.
Whoo! All right. What am I thankful for? I always forget to think about something I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
I'm thankful I didn't get shot in that fucking thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
Yeah.
Um,
You can't be getting shot.
Sometimes I just make it my girlfriend, and then it's so much of my girlfriend, and I do think she likes it, but that's that gets boring for the listener. I'm thankful for.
Yeah, you don't wanna
You know
lie.
what? Here's what thankful for, and sorry to say this, I did the Little Room at Cap City Comedy Club in
Oh,
Austin.
I'll be there in a few weeks.
Hell yeah. Little Room, or you're doing the big room?
Little room.
Little Room. Hell yeah.
Gianmarco, you think I sell more tickets than I do, and I'm
I
honored.
do
that-
think I am under the impression of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep
You're
that
like
going.
I'm regretting having you co-host.
I'm like, damn, this theater is full. Oh, it was a Burt Kreischer show. That's what it was.
Yeah, literally.
Sometimes people do open for those big folks, and they don't make it clear in all the pictures.
Oh.
That's the show they're
They're
performing
like,
on.
"Thank you, Denver."
Yeah.
and it was you opened
And Denver's
for
like,
someone.
bring Bird out
Yeah,
now.
But you did 5 minutes because you live there.
But I am thankful, and you never know whether it's the club or it's yourself. But I've done these Little Rooms in Helium, and you always hope you can sell it out at a second show. And for Austin, both first shows sold out.
Wow.
That's
And then one
awesome.
of the other later shows sold out. So 3 sold out shows in the Little Room. And we had some Debbie Downsiders there. That's what our fans
That's
are called.
awesome.
Debbie
Oh, that's
Downsiders.
cool.
That's great.
So it's
That's
very
great.
cool, and it feels good. And like some of these touring gigs financially are rough unless you can do that thing. And then it becomes
Absolutely.
like, that's a good weekend now.
Absolutely.
So this episode is coming out January 24th. What time is Wild and Out on tonight?
Probably 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right after Ridiculousness airs all day. So,
Anything you want to plug? January 24th is when it comes out.
MaddySmithComedy.com for all my dates. I'm coming to Plano, Texas, Austin, Texas. I think I'm doing the little Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, Helium, Indianapolis.
St. Louis, Helium.
Yeah, doing the Helium run.
And I don't know other stuff. Just follow me. So Maddy Smith.
Follow Maddy
and catch
Smith.
me co-hosting The Downside.
Yes. Bye, Russell. Skyler, anything you want to plug?
When do you say it's coming out?
January 24th.
You know what? Skyler Higley on Twitter and Instagram. SkylerHigley.com. I don't tour that much yet. Trying.
It's coming.
Trying.
This podcast, your agent's going to say there's 3 things that make you tour.
Gianmarco, Maddy, and Skyler.
Downsider.
I will be headlining Thursday, January 26th at Comedy Connection in Rhode
that's a good
Island.
club.
Tickets were going good, so go to that. Also be February 8th headlining Comedy Zone in Charlotte. Did I skip a weekend here? I'm going to be in Bethlehem February 4th. But as always, just go to my things. Sign up for the email list, the text list. Links are all in the description. And then join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. We got more live episodes. We got so much coming. We got some merch that we're working on. I wanted to end this episode. I haven't played a night terror from my girlfriend in a long time.
Okay.
And I think we might end episodes with night terrors. She has night terrors, severe.
no.
And we have an app
my
that records
gosh.
them. So this is
Oh,
this
so
is,
we're just gonna listen to her night terror?
yeah, we're gonna listen, and it does
That's
feel
awful.
it does feel a little bit
Oh.
like ooh, should we be hearing this?
Oh my gosh.
And she knows you're doing it?
She knows that we're. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds so
Listen,
scary.
If I deserve to get something from this shit. You have no idea.
Okay.
You have well, you will have some idea after this. This is Tova.
God, I'm gonna freak.
Oh nope, this is Tova.
Wait!
No wait, that's wrong. Okay, that was a different one. I just added a new one today. What the fuck? Hold up. That was an old one. I'll play this one too, just so you hear. So this is her. She was in on vacation with friends, and she didn't tell them that she had night terrors, so she forgot to.
Oh my gosh.
Wait! It's Tova. It's me.
That's all her?
No. So that the first one was her. Then everyone else started screaming.
Her and
then
four
the
voices.
one person who knew about her night terrors was Tova. I think woke up and was like, no, it's me. I have night terrors. Okay. So this one,
that's
I'm
awful.
putting it in. Right.
What do you do?
Oh, I know where I put it.
I'm not gonna take more time, but I want to.
Okay.
Whoa! No, my God, we can't. No, we can't. We have to let's. Everyone's gotta stop. We gotta go to hell. Oh no, this is bad.
So that is
the drama.
that's
Hell.
yeah, every night.
Wow.
Most nights.
Well,
wake up
you guys
from
are going
or
on
do you
it.
wear earplugs?
Oh, I wake up and sometimes I don't remember it. So now we have the app where I will say something like it's okay, it's okay. But I just know I wake up in the morning and I'm like, why do I feel like death?
Yeah.
And then we listen back and we're like, Jesus Christ.
Because you had to go to hell. That's what she said. She said you have to go to
But
hell.
that's the emotions will flip that fist. So it's like
Whoa!
it's big.
No, my God, we can't. No, we can't. We have to let's. Everyone's gotta stop.
And then
We gotta go to hell.
and then she goes right back to sleep. So she will get really extreme and then go right back to sleep and I'll be
this is
wide
bad.
awake.
Does she remember her dreams?
No.
Oh, wow.
Never has she ever remembered what one of these night terrors were.
Wow.
Every once in a while she'll have one where it's like she loses her glasses. Let me just play one more just because it's fun and then we'll end this out.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Oh no, that's what a night terror I had. So she caught me.
Oh my
So
god.
she had this app on, and this
Oh,
this
okay.
kind of night terrors I have.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. 100%. And it's me.
So I'm
You're
clearly
literally talking to an agent.
I'm clearly talking
Yeah.
like business, something very.
You're literally talking to a sales manager.
Are you saying you're saying the first show sold out? That's
John,
great.
John
Okay, so
Marco,
it activates
you
the
got to
door
get on
deal?
Rogan.
Okay,
You
that's
got to
really
get
good.
on Rogan, John Marco.
Let's see it.
Oh my God.
What's wrong?
How do my glasses work? I don't. They don't though. But I'm confused. I'm sorry. That's okay. Don't worry about me. But I'm scared.
Oh my god.
No, I don't know where my glasses are.
Wow. That makes me so
wanna
sad.
record
But also, it
myself
is
now.
funny.
This is
She doesn't know how her glasses work.
the downside.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.